of the Muslims. وَمَنْ أَحْسَنُ قَوْلًا مِمَّنْ دَعَا إِلَى اللَّهِ وَعَمِلَ صَالِحًا وَقَالَ إِنَّنِي مِنَ الْمُسْلِمِينَ. Now, in the Arabic language and applicable to the English language, this is called rhetorical question. It's a type of question that comes as an interrogative, but is making it's a declaration in the form of a question. I can bring the point home by giving you an example. Let's say you're the greatest cricket player in the world. You're not, but hypothetically. And you're trying to gloat and show off. And you say, who's better than me? Are you really asking who's better than you? Or are you trying to say, no one's better than me? You're trying to say, no one's better than me. Everybody understands. No one's going to tell you, well, Fulan is better than you. It's like, that's not what I'm trying to hear. In the Arabic language, we have something along the same lines. In fact, it's exactly the same concept. Who is better in speech is not actually a question that is being asked for someone to give an answer. It is actually declaring that there is no one better in speech than he who quotes to Allah and does righteousness and says, I am of the Muslims. All of these points are interconnected so that you don't disconnect them. Because if you have one without the other two, you got a problem. You got 2 out of 3, you're doing better. You got 3 out of 3, you're on point. You got 0 out of 3, جنازة صلاة. صلاة الجنازة عليك وأنت حي. There's nothing left for you. What are you doing in this world anyways? No, if you don't have any of those 3, you don't invite to Allah, you don't do righteous deeds, and you don't say you're of the Muslims, what are you doing in this life? Oh, I tell you what you're doing. You're wasting time until you die. That's it. Whatever time spent has been written for you that you have no control of. No control of. You can't say, look, man, I'm trying to live another 5 years. I'm trying to live till next week. I'm trying to live till next year. You have absolutely no human being on earth. The biggest macho man and the strongest president and the biggest government, no one has any control whatsoever about their health and their wealth and their death. Everybody's like, yo, but I thought you were powerful. Yeah. But you got cancer. Yeah. You're going to die in 6 months. Yep, pretty much. Bring doctors or bring Madriyesh with the hospital. What are they going to do? There's so much you can do. And then at the end, otherwise, if it was otherwise, no president in the past would have died. Fir'aun would have been alive. Fir'aun was a beast in modern day language. The dude was crazy. Fir'aun was running around telling the people, Ana rabbukum al-a'la. I am your Lord, the Most High. You don't hear anyone from among the leaders of any country tell you hear some others, this agenda, that agenda. Don't say to the people, I am your ما علمت لكم من إله غيري to بني Israel. I don't know any other gods for you besides myself. I'm trying to debate with Musa, and he wants to go up in the heavens in order to look at Allah Azza wa Jal. It's a long discussion that you see in the Quran. But Fir'aun is a prime example of someone who could have lived longer if necessary, if his power were to help him. Another example would be who's someone like Fir'aun who had a lot of strength and wealth, and then it just fizzled. Huh? I'm talking to the chairs or what? Qarun, ahsant. Qarun was also bawling. Qarun had people carry the keys of his treasure. The strong men weren't carrying his treasure, they were carrying the keys for his treasure. His treasure was somewhere else that nobody could carry in the first place. And then what happened? فَخَسَفْنَا بِهِ. Allah Azza wa Jalla made the earth open up and swallow him. Have you seen those videos on YouTube where people in the club dancing and all this, all of a sudden the earth opens up and swallows everybody? There are 2 videos. I watch them like 100 times every week because I'm baffled. How could someone be just at the club dancing their heart out and then all of a sudden the earth opens up and swallows them and they're gone? Straight to the maqbara. From partying to death. No, there's nothing in between. There was no preparation, no orientation, no segmentation. You can think of other words that end with shin. Otherwise, we're going to be here until tomorrow. It's one of the easiest words to write. Wallah, it's a crazy world we're living in. So the only thing that you will take with you is da'wah. And the first da'wah is to you. The first person that will receive da'wah is you, in order to give it to others. So when we discuss the matter of da'wah right now, if you feel that you're not there, no problem. We begin with you. Whatever I'm saying, or whatever we will say, or whatever we will discuss, which you thought you were going to share with others to give them da'wah, we're going to say no. You're disqualified for the moment. Let's begin with you. You take this information, you absorb it, you internalize it, you understand it, and then inshallah you will upgrade eventually to delivering this information to the third parties. For now, it's da'wah for each and every one of us. If you know this stuff, then this will help you fine-tune some of those tools and skills that you need in order to deliver the message of Islam. So this is why it's very important to take those matters seriously. Because no matter how much voluntary fast you will fast in your life, and no matter how many nawafil you will pray, and no matter how long your qiyamul layl is, and no matter how often you remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and no matter how often you send salah upon the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, none of those will exceed the reward you get from inviting one person to Islam, or reminding one brother about the deen. And then he acts upon it, and then all of these good deeds that he will do until he dies, and then his family, which will do after him, after he dies, for generations to come, all of them will be in your book of deeds because of a simple reminder you gave someone, or because of a pamphlet you gave to a non-Muslim who embraced Islam 20 years later, after you died. You were a factor. You may not have been the main man in delivering the message of Islam, but you were part of the process. Therefore, you get a share of the good. Does anyone know an evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah for what I just said? Or am I just inventing things as I go along? Thinking deeply. The cue for thinking deeply is closing your eyes. There's nothing in the archive. Somebody formatted the SD card before they came.
If you do good or teach someone good, and they do it, you get the same reward.
Yes. Ahsant. Whoever invites people to huda, to guidance, فَلَهُ مِنَ الْأَجْرِ مثل أجور من تبعه لا ينقص ذلك من أجورهم شيئا. Whosoever calls people to guidance, he will have a reward equivalent to those who follow him, without their reward being diminished in any way. What does that mean? Meaning, if they're going to get 1,000 good deeds, and because you told them about this good deed, you're going to split it 500s? No. They will get the 1,000 good deeds, and you will get 1,000 good deeds because you are the one who introduced this information to them. So you get equal amount of deeds, not 50-50. It's not being reduced. Because, in the business world, that's not how it works. If you're a middleman and you bring a business to a real estate, you are the one who found the tenant. Are you going to get the equal amount of rent? No. You're going to get what? Commission. 2-3%. Yalla andira. Khalas, enough for you, 2-3%. Enjoy life. Not more than that. But when it comes to the deen, it is full-fledged reward. Multiplied by more depending on what? It could be multiplied more. For some people more than others, depending on what. Sisters, I need an answer from there. Two brothers or two sisters give da'wah to two non-Muslim ladies. Both of them accept Islam. One sister, however, will be rewarded more than the other, even though in both cases, both ladies reverted to Islam. What would be the distinguishing factor?
Maybe the people.
Sisters. And what I needed the brothers to ignore me. Now when I'm asking the sisters you're in, I'll give you a chance next time, inshallah. Yalla, sisters, it's almost tomorrow. I have things to do. Okay, tafadali.
Is it because when you see guys, they pass on to other people and just he's sort of shade, so you get involved in this passing on?
I didn't hear you well, but I don't think it's the right answer. We should have a mic with the ladies. So you want to try, bro?
Yeah. Like, what if the people who reverted taught other people as well?
Okay, that's fine, but we haven't reached that point. We're talking just face value, both became Muslim. Ay, 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 ay. يا كابتن.
هذا جاي من السؤال؟
السؤال. Let's say you and Qayyum both gave da'wah to two Christians. Both became Muslim.
Yeah.
The guy you gave da'wah to, the guy he gave da'wah to. However, let's say his reward is 10 times yours. Why?
Sincerity.
أيوة يا شيخ. إخلاص. Is it possible that someone did it for showing off? Is it or is it not possible? Is it possible that they didn't do it for showing off? Initially, you had good intention, but at some point, the shaitan's like, hey, come on, man, give me a share. The people are going to say you're this, and the people are going to say you're that. You're like, oh, well, this sounds good. Allah Alam, how much percentage of the reward is gone. Whereas the other person couldn't care less what the people think. Khalli walli, the entire world. I am dealing with Allah. I want this da'wah fi sabilillah. The people appreciate it, congratulations. They don't appreciate it, congratulations as well. I don't care. So one person might get a lot more reward than the other because the element of ikhlas and sincerity. But now the notes which were given to me that I was supposed to elaborate on were quite interesting because there's something called go rap. And I, being an ex-rapper in my days of Jahiliyyah, when I was a Buddhist, non-Muslim, just so that you won't look at me and say, hey, you got a rapping sheikh. Yeah. And before Islam, I used to rap. Sandwiches and lyrics. Because I didn't work in the restaurant. Yeah. So it worked both ways. So when I read go rap, I was like, what is this go rap? I don't want to go rap. I want to give a lecture. But it turns out that go rap was the breakdown for God, oneness, revelation, afterlife, prophet. Whose invention was this? No need to put him on the spot. But so we have some things to discuss, and I will hope and pray that you're able to assist me in enlightening everyone here with this information. So the first thing to discuss is, why is there one God and not many? Because if you look at all religions minus Islam, to some degree, either explicitly or implicitly, we go on to deal with what? More than one God. Either they are straightforward about it, or they like to play games. Who likes to play games about it? The most Christians. Christians, they don't even understand, they don't even know the difference between a table and a chair. In my opinion, when it comes to their theology, I am yet to meet a Christian who can even articulate what he believes in a way that can make sense to a 4-year-old kid. Nothing makes sense. The Father is the God, the Son is a God, the Holy Ghost is a God, but they're not three gods, they're one God. And if one died, but the other one remained alive, so then if they're if they're the same God and one dies, all of them die? Yeah, this is just just scratching the surface. If you just get this far with someone, you're like, what? What are you saying? Are we speaking the same language? Hello? Anyone there? Mafi. You go to other religions, no, they tell you there are many gods. Maybe the Hindus are more straightforward about the multiplicity of gods, even though they might be a one entity, but they acknowledge the existence of other gods. Who else believed in many gods, even though they claimed otherwise? None but the Quraysh. Qurayshis were idolaters, right? Allah wal-Uzza ila akhirih. So all these religions will eventually bring the idea of many gods. Only Islam is like, nope, not having it. Not today, not tomorrow, never. We don't entertain the idea of another God, not even for a split second. We're the most straightforward, in-your-face religion on earth regarding this matter. And that, my brothers and sisters, is your point of strength. That is the foundation from where you can now dominate. In any given situation, if there's to be a debate, if there were to be a debate between Muslims and Christians or Muslims and any other religion, we have an advantage that they will never ever have. It's too late. They missed the train, there's no fixing it. They can't it's not like Windows. They update their religion to the latest software, which now has only one God. You understand? Khalas. Forever, Christianity will be a polytheistic religion. Forever, Hindus, they can't change unless they eradicate and erase the scriptures completely and they bring on new scriptures, then they don't have any foundation anymore. So there's no way around it. So but who can give us an evidence from the Quran about what are the possible issues that may result from having more than one God? We give the sisters a chance also. Bismillah. I like that hint. Anyone else? Sisters? I can give you a hint. Surah Al-Anbiya. Among many, of course. The brother has the ayah. طيب. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. لو كان فيهما آلهة إلا الله لفسدتا فسبحان الله رب العرش عما يصفون. This is of course in the context of Allah mentioning the claim, that the allegation against him that there are other gods that are also in charge of the heavens and the earth. And Allah says in response that had there been within them, i.e. the heavens and the earth, gods besides Allah, they both would have been ruined. So exalted is Allah, Lord of the throne, above what they describe. So the point of contention here is, if there were to be two gods, then the heavens and the earth would be corrupted. Why? Mind you, I'm going to be very straightforward. Some of these arguments, which back in the day were silencing refutations, today they are somewhat futile. Some of these arguments, if you said them 20, 30 years ago, no one could respond. Nowadays, because of the evolution of philosophy and philosophical arguments and the widespread of philosophy on social media, even among Muslim du'at who promote philosophy as a way of da'wah, because of this corruption that has happened, now even when you try to reason with a person on a very basic level, such as gender roles, you get bashed. Where even the matter of like feminine, masculine, male, female is now subject to what? Subject to scrutiny. Not really. Well, not exactly. You see these philosophers all over the place about anything you tell them. This is an auditorium or a hall. Not really. It's a supermarket. Why? Well, because if you think about it, everyone has something to offer. So when you go to the supermarket, it has something to offer. So these people are like products on aisles. I'm like, man, shut up! I smack you with the mic, man. What are you saying? It's a hall. You didn't even. This is not. But on a very, you can anything, and you can make something out of nothing and nothing out of something, and it's an endless vicious cycle with these people. So you have to be careful. Some of these arguments, when you present them, if you get one of those people, there's a whole different approach. But for now, we're dealing with a reasonable person, a person that has not been intoxicated with this BS, as they call it. So what would be the argument? Why would the heavens and the earth be corrupted if there were to be multiple gods? And what example can you give from everyday life to prove that point?
There can't be two leaders.
There can be two leaders. They're going to tell you there are many places with two leaders. Then that's why you have to be careful now. Your answer has to be thought through to the counter argument. When you want to give an argument, you have to think in advance what possible answer you may get, so that your answer addresses the counter argument before you even give yours. Otherwise, you're digging your own grave. We discussed this in the car today when it came to Samsung. Remember? I'm not going to open a discussion of Samsung now. I know some of you are sensitive iPhone users. Apples. So, How do you address this issue? He's going to tell you, I can give you many places where there are more than one leader, things are just fine.
I mean,
But you can still argue that. He has a right to.
there's never two CEOs in one company.
Uh-huh.
There's an argument like on top, and then some people call it bottom, but never two people at the same manager roles. Like,
True or false? So even though there may be multiple positions, but in terms of the most senior position, there has to be only, it's impossible. You guys know what a CFO is? You know what CEO is, right? Does anyone know what a CFO is?
Chief Financial Officer.
Huh? The CFO is, by the way, more important than the CEO because he's the Chief Financial Officer. That's the guy who decides who gets paid, how much they get paid, how much spending is going to happen, budget, approval of anything that has to do with money in and money out. It's the CFO. And sometimes the CFO can override the CEO who may not be aware of the financial situation of the company. If there were to be two CFOs, no business on earth would operate. You submit a plan proposal for whatever activity you want to do in the market. This one approves, this one rejects. You can't. You cannot. In real life, no two leaders can coexist harmoniously. No two leaders at the same level, same position can coexist harmoniously. One of them will try to overpower the other. That is just a natural situation, natural phenomenon. So if there were to be multiple gods, how is this world and universe going to operate? Who's going to decide what happens? Does it rain? Does it not rain? What, any matter from the affairs of humanity and creation in general, it cannot be undertaken by more than one God. So that's from a very simplistic approach. Of course, we have many other evidences from the Quran and the Sunnah about this concept, but that is not the time to elaborate on that. But the next question is, do we actually need God? That's a lecture of its own, which I'm not going to crack right now, but we can discuss it just briefly. Someone may say, who cares if there's one God or two gods? Okay, there cannot be two gods, because if there were two gods, the heavens and the earth would be corrupted. But who said that we need God in the first place? We're doing just fine. The atheist and the agnostics will tell you we're doing just fine, we're just fine. Why is there a need for God? How do you address that issue? Ayo, tfaddal.
Because without God, we cannot know what's right and what's wrong.
Without God, we cannot know what's right and what's wrong. Do you know the term that they use in Dawah for this?
Morality.
They call it objective morality. But I like simplicity. I like, in Dawah, simplicity. I've learned that when you learn all these fancy terminologies, then your Dawah becomes off-putting. Your Dawah becomes philosophy also. You know, all these different words that the average person in reality understands or does not understand? Does not understand. If you haven't looked up objective morality before, I'm speaking foreign language to you. So, what is the objective of Dawah? To sound fancy? To sound like a linguist? To show off my gymnastics in the language? Or to deliver the information to the audience? But when you deliver the information to the audience, do you take into consideration the most qualified or the least qualified? The least qualified, sir? Are you just speaking to 4 people and the rest can basically go and busy themselves outside? No. Your objective is to deliver the information. When you have a very intelligent, highly educated person present, and a person that is still in beginner levels, when you speak the language of the beginner's level, is the one who's educated going to understand? So easy for him. If you reverse it, no. So forget about objective morality. We will not know what's right or what's wrong. Right. Who agrees, who disagrees? So you're saying we need God to know what's right or what's wrong, meaning we on our own are unable to identify. So what about the fact that if you saw someone strangle a cat to death, Is it because in the Quran and the Sunnah it says do not strangle a cat to death that you know that this is wrong, or do you have something else in you that shows you that it's wrong?
We have the fitrah, but many of them cannot, like, normally without Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without the Quran, without the Sunnah, we can't justify it a lot of the time. But we have the fitrah. So we have a feel like we know it's wrong, but we can't justify it.
Excellent point. So while we acknowledge the natural disposition we have, fitrah, that one we need to know that word. The natural disposition or the natural innate, while we have that, we know the way Allah created us, we know that this is right and this is wrong. However, it is not the ultimate deciding tool. Because your fitrah could be messed up. Can your fitrah be messed up? Can you give me examples of people whose fitrah is messed up? And the evidence from the Sunnah? Ladies?
Evidence like hadith.
Yeah.
كل مولود يولد على الفطرة.
أحسنت. Today, mashallah, tabarakallah, you're on point.
He's ready.
Huh? He's ready. That's what we need. Every newborn child is born upon the fitrah. So if you stop and you don't continue the hadith, what does that mean? Everybody's on point. Khalas, everybody has a fitrah that they need to have to succeed in life. However, the hadith says, then it is his parents, and the scholars understand the reason why, they say the reason why parents is mentioned because that is the most common responsible factor. However, could it be society? Could it be your aunt? Could it be your uncle? Could it be your culture? Absolutely. So even though it's usually the parents, not necessarily. The environment will do what? يهودانه أو ينصرانه, they will make him a Jew or a Christian or a fire worshipper, Magian, or whatever other religions you may have. This is evidence that even though your fitrah is there to make those distinctions, your fitrah can go off. And therefore you can no longer rely on it. That's why people now allow all types of things related to gender, diseases. They allow them on the premise that what? What's wrong with it? What's wrong with a dude liking a dude? And a lady liking a lady? It's a freedom of, freedom of choice and freedom of, freedom of speech and freedom of everything until Islam comes into the picture. Then all the freedom goes away. Then you're not allowed to say anything. Otherwise, you become a radical person. Double standards of the world we're living in. So then it is important. Okay, so that's one answer. Now, why else do we need God?
Like just to live, or like everything is good, perfect. So without God, I think everything wouldn't function properly.
Wait, this guy. I'm sorry, guys. This delivery guy, man. I told him I'm gonna be away, and he insists on calling me. Allah al-Azim. Ever since they made this delivery, life is hectic. Sorry, guys. So, sorry, give me the answer again, I apologize.
And you without God, there wouldn't be a perfect world we live in. Nothing would properly.
Really? So you say this to an atheist when I tell you perfect world? Just the earthquake that hit Turkey and Syria and other countries and all these children that died in under the buildings and the world, the starvation, I don't know where in Africa, and all the poverty here and the poverty there, and the long rant, the longest rant that they have. He's going to tell you which perfect world are you talking about. All these problems. Captain.
At some point, we need someone to judge us.
No, wait. You jump to another point, which I will accept from you momentarily, inshallah. We need to address this issue. I need an answer for the argument I raised against his. You don't want. Ladies, the world we're living in is far from perfecto.
It's not meant to be perfect.
It's not meant to be perfect. How do you know?
Because when Allah created the dunya, it's a trial for us. So all the earthquake and all the calamities coming to people is just a test from Allah to us to see what we do in terms of us helping them and them being patient with the calamity.
That's a good answer. It's a good answer. It's addressing 5 different topics though.
Okay.
I want to limit it in the beginning. Wait, guys. You guys think of an answer in the meantime, please. I need a good answer. The world we're living in is problematic. Full of issues. Children died. Children in the earthquakes died. What did the children do? What did they do to die? Guys, let's be realistic. So if you're walking outside on campus right now, and some atheist came and told you this, you're just gonna be like, would you like some coffee? Do you want to go for a walk? How about we go try the gym? What? You're gonna say, I have a class. I just realized that I'm late. I'm leaving school. I quit life. I'm out. What are you gonna say? You're just gonna run away? You don't have an answer? That's a disaster. This is the easiest thing in the world. Before you answer, let me give you guys a tip. Number 1, never, ever, ever be apologetic. Never let them feel that you got a problem or there's a problem. The first key is offense. Always be on the offense. Don't tremble and stutter and make them feel that you're facing a calamity of some sort. The best type of defense is offense, if you play any sports. So whenever I'm put in a situation of this nature, whether in my personal business life or when it comes to da'wah, I don't let the contender feel as though he's got one on me. So it's very important that you're composed, your body language, your tone of voice, your answer, all of those display confidence in the truth that you have. And always remember that you are upon the truth. This is Islam, it's not some other philosophy you picked up from the street. Therefore, even though you may not know the answer, don't let them feel as though there's a problem with the religion. Worst case scenario, say, excellent question, and we have an excellent answer. Let me take you to someone who's actually well versed in this, because we learn in our religion not to talk as though we don't know everything when we don't. Thumbs up. Even the person's gonna be like, okay, at least this guy knows his limits. He stays in his lane. As opposed to you starting to ramble things and give them an explanation. Oh, because actually, the kids really didn't die. They're in paradise right now. One of them came to his father in his dream, and he told him, "Daddy, I'm already in Jannah." And the guy's like, what are you saying, man? What in the world are you saying? Stop this emotional rant. Give me an answer that is satisfactory. So worst case scenario, I say, look, I don't know, but I know that this issue has been addressed in Islam, and there's an answer for it. Now, whether the answer will satisfy him or not, is that your problem? Let's say you take him to Sheikh Abu Abdullah. Sheikh Abu Abdullah gives him an answer, and the atheist says, nope, not satisfied. Is Allah going to ask you in Yawm al-Qiyamah why Abu Abdullah did not satisfy his answer? No. And by the way, Abu Abdullah's answer may be 5 stars, but this guy is a kafir. Nothing convinces him. You have to understand, at some point, it is not a matter of logic versus illogic. Because everything that they believe, the premise of everything they believe is illogical in the first place. The premise of their belief is illogical. For someone to say, we tell them, look at this world around us. Look at you as a human being. Are you kidding me? Have you ever seen the internal organs of a human being? Like, how do you take in food and then you have teeth to chew it and a tongue to taste it, and then it goes through your throat into your stomach, and there's special enzymes that digest the food, even if you ate a rock or paper, and then it goes through your intestines, and then, excuse me, you defecated later on in the day. Sometimes the next day if you're constipated, sometimes 2 minutes later if you have diarrhea, depending on what issues you're having. Regardless, this system is the work of what? Random evolution, collision of mercury with molecules with I don't know, ish. Are you out of your mind? You have eyes that you see me with right now. You see me with your eyes. Your brain is comprehending my speech. Your ears are hearing sound and translating it into information all simultaneously. And this came from what? This is logic? You don't have an answer. Okay, it's not God, but I don't know what, but it's not God. How is that? How is that logical? Like, you walk in, you see someone with a knife, you know, inside someone's neck, and the guy is bleeding to death, and you have it on video cam and surveillance, and everything proves that you killed him, and then you walk and say, hey, you killed him. Say, no, just because I have a knife in his neck and he's bleeding to death and I'm standing here, it doesn't mean that I killed him. Well, yes, if it was some really like out of this world stuff where you would spend 10 years trying to justify how it's not you in some very weird, twisted way, but would that be the probable? Is that the most probable scenario, or is the most probable scenario that you killed him? Obviously the latter. So you have a claim that God created everything. You're going to dismiss that for something else that logically does not add up, mathematically does not add up, scientifically is not justifiable. So you have to understand from where we're starting, the building blocks of the entire argument. So then, if he's not satisfied with the answer, it's not your issue. This is another principle that you need to write down and remember. Never ever give false information about Islam to please a disbeliever. This is not your job. Your job is not, if there are 5 opinions, 4 of which are strong, some random opinion of some scholar somewhere, I don't know where in the world, and you say, oh, Islam does not teach this ruling, it teaches that ruling based on this one opinion that you know is insignificant because you're trying to not look bad. When they ask you about, for example, apostasy and you know what happens to the apostate, or anything of this nature, you see some du'at, he doesn't face the truth, and he doesn't tell them the truth. He starts giving them all kinds of stories and examples of some opinions that are disregarded and discarded among the scholars because, you know, this is the most agreeable and the most crowd-pleasing answer. Your job is not to please the crowd. Your job is to deliver the message of Islam. If they believe, Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, Jazakallah khair, you've done your job. If they don't believe, they have a Lord who will ask them on Yawm al-Qiyamah. Allah will ask them, Allah will question them on Yawm al-Qiyamah. And Allah Azza wa Jal made His religion logical. Logical in the sense, the reason, the basic reason, not advanced philosophy, logical, the logic that we all understand and we all relate to. It doesn't require some advanced studies for you to understand La ilaha illallah, or that the Quran is a revelation, or that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam. So, back to the point. How do we address the issue of the world, the imperfect world? First, if we have the answer, if we don't have the answer, we excuse ourselves and we find them an answer. Second, don't feel as though they got something on you. So be confident in the answer. Third, now give an answer. Now we can try yours.
Yeah, we say that it was not meant to be perfect.
Hello. It was not meant to be perfect? Give me an evidence from the Quran and the Sunnah that it's not meant to be perfect. If this believer says, okay, what's the evidence for your statement? How will you furnish?
ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف والجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات وبشر الصابرين.
Tamam. That's one strong evidence. And we should surely test you with something, بشيء من, the scholars say, not the entire life, because even the disbelievers, they're chilling most of the time. Until a calamity strikes, everything is good. بشيء من, what? Deficiency, lack of souls, meaning either people dying or illnesses, and also fruits, and what else? Thamarat, and also al-amwal, wealth. All of these, expect in your life to miss out on maybe absence of food, so there's drought and there's famine. Also, the lack of health, either somebody getting sick or someone dying. And then, obviously, then Allah says, وَبَشِّرْ الصَّابِرِينَ, and give glad tidings to the impatient. So that's one evidence from the Quran that this world is meant to be a problem, or meant to have problems. What else? It's the same one. Oh, which one? Tamam. طيب, along the same lines. Let's look at something with the same concept but different. It's always easy to make life easy for yourself. If you have Juz' Amma memorized, I hope and pray that you have Juz' Amma memorized. If beside the ayat from Juz' Amma, if they're relevant, obviously, why? It's easier for you. Because when you cite the ayah that he mentioned, you might, not everybody has it under their belt. They might forget a word or two. And I've seen many of the du'at, out of overconfidence, butcher the Quran and the recitation and the citation of the Quran in an effort to seem knowledgeable. But you cannot do this with the Book of Allah. If you don't know the ayah, shut your mouth. Just give the English equivalent. Say the meaning of which is along those lines, no problem. But to give an ayah and start adding a harf or adding a letter or adding a word, or removing and advancing, and you cannot do this with the Book of Allah. This is Kalamullah. It's not the Kalam of Abu Abdullah or your homeboy down the street. So it's not open, or it's not subject to the same treatment. So Juz' Amma, easy. We have created the human being in kabad. Kabad is turmoil and hardship. So we know the overall message of Islam tells us that you are actually here as well. كن في الدنيا كأنك غريب أو عابر سبيل. Be in this world like a stranger or a wayfarer, a traveler. You're not meant to be here forever. So that's very straightforward. The entire Quran and the Sunnah teach you that this world is not meant to be perfect. And that there will be earthquakes, and there will be tsunamis, and there will be tornadoes, and there will be volcanoes, and there will be all types of calamities. Give glad tidings to the who? To the patient people. You're going to be tested. You are going to be tested. Now, the second thing you wanted to discuss, we said, why do we need God? So, objective morality, or to know the right and wrong, for the world to make sense. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense. The third one?
At some point, we need something to judge us.
We need something to judge us? Someone?
Judge us that you have done right, you have done wrong, and then, like he decides whether we need to go to heaven or to.
Okay, so you're jumping to another point, which is the belief in the afterlife. We're actually jumping points, which is fine, because they're all interconnected. If there was no accountability, then it would be an absolute absurd life. So for a human being to come and commit mass murder, like some of these serial killers, that they don't leave anything that walks that they don't kill, and then they may or may not get caught. And when they get caught, they actually improve their quality of life by going to prison. So the dude was maybe struggling on the streets. He was almost a bum, homeless, living next to a Walmart. And then after he gets caught, he gets to go to prison and have daily meals, gym access. They get buff and strong in the gym. Some of them finish their doctorates and master's degree in prison. And they live off the taxes that the people that are outside of prison are earning. So the free people make money to pay for the prisoners, so they can live their lifestyle. They continue their lavish lifestyle, I would say, within prison. You can say, but these are in prison. That's bad enough already. Habibi, according to Islam, this person shouldn't be around. if he kills someone, what is the ruling in Islam? He gets killed. End of discussion. Unless the family want to, they want to forgive him and accept the blood money, that's a whole other discussion. If they don't, this person shouldn't even be hanging around anymore to be eating and drinking and living off of you or off of me. But that's what happens when you use a corrupt, man-made system as a way to manage mankind. You get absurd results. So still, this person he caused grief and tragedy to maybe tens, hundreds of families. Look at someone as Adolf Hitler, for example. I'm fascinated when I watch the documentaries of the Nazis. Like, these people, these people are out of this world, man. Like, to treat people like complete animals, just put them in I don't know what, kill them, like they don't, try to kill an entire generation or entire nation of people is insane. Like, what happens? He dies, he killed himself, right? He killed himself before they got access to him. And then what? If there was no accountability, this world would be absurd. On the flip side, someone who was an excellent person, good person, well-mannered, but suffered all his life. It just didn't work out for him. If there's no accountability and there's no reward in the life to come, it will also be absurd. Because this person didn't get anything. One day, look at these football players. The miskeen football players. Sometimes I think they should just beg in front of one of the masajid. How much these footballers make per day or per hour or per week? What all of us will make in our entire career, they make in like maybe 1 week of playing football, of playing football, playing. You and I pay money to play. If we want to go play football right now, you have to rent a soccer pitch. If you want to play basketball, you have to rent a court. You pay money to suck at the game that you're going to play. Those guys get crazy amount of money to just play. So if you look at it from a justice point of view, this is insane. There's like billions of people in the world, and millions of people in the world suffering and dying from starvation. And those guys, their car garages don't even fit cars anymore. Like if his wife wants to give him a car as a present, there's no car left to be bought. Well, you're just gonna get him another Bentley? You understand? But this person, one person is playing football, making buckloads of money, and this other guy has been working 15 hours a day from the time he was 8 years old until 80. You know people, right? Every one of us has one of these people back home. I remember the guy, Farouk, who used to fix my bicycle. Got a little tiny shop as big as this table. And, you can barely fit in there. And you have a flat tire, you need to fix anything in the bike. He fixed the bike. My whole life, that's all he did. My whole life. To fix the tire. 3 ringgits. How many customers are going to come? If you do the math, nothing yet. At the end, it barely puts food on the table. For 30, 40 years, even when I went back to visit, dude is still there. And now that he died, his children now are managing the same shop. So they can continue the legacy. So they're, in a way, you can say they're doomed. Because that's what they chose. Unless they want to do some entrepreneurship and start their own business. If they don't, khalas. So how much money are they going to make? You can say this is a miserable life for them. They're always, the grease of the tires and whatever. It's not exactly the cleanest job in the world. Hygiene and cleanliness are not exactly part of the job description or their roles and responsibilities. It's a tough life. It's a tough life. Mechanics have a tough life, right? Unless you're like a fancy mechanic for Mercedes. But if you're the average mechanic down the street, you see those guys. Subhanallah. Not belittling anyone. On the contrary, this is out of compassion. And I was a mechanic. I worked as a mechanic for years. I would change the oil of your car. You give me $1 tip, I'll spend it on lottery and still lose. Nothing ever worked, alhamdulillah. So the reality is, Accountability is necessary. Right. What's the fourth point? The last point before we break for Salah. Yalla. How many do I have? 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 5 minutes? Yalla. يتفضل يا شيخ.
There would be no purpose of life if, like, the non-Muslims, if, they live this life, they've started, they're working, they've gone to university, all in all, they're just going to die and end up in the grave. Same as someone who's done nothing all his life, so there'd be no purpose of living, at the end of the day.
The purpose of life, صح? Actually, is to have a purpose. Because when you don't have a purpose, this is as lost as you can be. And a lot of people don't have a purpose. They're purposeless. They go about every day with no real objective, with no real goal, except acquiring more pleasure. That's why you see the people, the addiction, whatever addiction people have, it becomes so insane that if you don't have a purpose in life, then you become a substance abuser. So vaping, the people went from traditional smoking to vaping, and vaping went from being banned in works, in offices, and workplaces, to some people I see some people vaping anyways. The craziest thing, on my flight from Jeddah to Kuala Lumpur, because it was Riyadh, Jeddah, Kuala Lumpur, the dude was vaping on a plane. On the plane. And he has it hanging from his, you have this, whatchamacallit? Yeah. The dude has it there, he can't leave it. He can't wait. We're like half an hour away from landing, and the urge to smoke is so bad that he took in the whole thing. And usually when you vape, what should be the outcome? Smoke. Nothing came up. Dude, the whole thing.
Where did it go?
Swallow. Nothing came out. I looked at it and it was going like this. And I'm the type of guy who's gonna look at you right in the face. Like, what you doing, man? Because I'm sitting here, sitting right over there. And I'm waiting for this. I want to see it go out so I can be like, react. Nothing came out. I was like, dang. How bad do you have it? It's the same dude. He's like 20 years old. It's the same dude. When they tried to wake him up for his meal, we all thought he was dead. I and 2 flight attendants. The dude was like this. And then the first, the flight attendant, they have this muffin, I don't know what they want to give him. If I were them, let the guy sleep. It's obvious that this guy's like, imagine somebody waking you up and telling you, do you want to eat? No, I don't want to eat. I want to freaking sleep. Can you not just give me the food later? Like, sometimes these flight attendants don't make any sense. They woke him up from the best sleep of his life just to offer him a muffin. Al-Muhim. So, man, he was gently patting the guy. Wallah, nothing. Then he started hitting him. Like, he would hit him hard. And I'm sitting on this plane like, what is going on in this plane? This is such an entertaining session. And then he started rocking the guy. Until, wallahi, all 3 of us thought that the man is dead. And then all of a sudden, it's like a zombie. He came from, he went like this. And the guy was like, Allah, والله فجعني. قلت له افتكرته مات. قال لي وانا افتكرته مات. We all thought that he was dead. Guy just woke up and nothing happened. Put on his earphones. I was like, yeah, you kidding me? Then half an hour later, he's vaping his harder. So I see this conflicting with the purpose of life. Because if you have a purpose, you will be able to discipline yourself to some degree. I understand that these addictions happen, but those addictions are very much worse with people that have no purpose in life. You and I, we all have our own problems, our own sins, our own addiction. However, what do we have to counter that? Iman. So yeah, you want to do something and you're like, wait a second. Haram. Ya walad. Bas. Balash. Taqillah. Yallah. And then you fall. At least you're having a back and forth. You're going through some struggle where you don't let things get out of control and out of hand. صح? And that's a purpose, that's an objective. Otherwise, what is the point of living? Just eat and drink and smoke and get drunk and just follow, fornicate. That's, if you don't have a purpose in life, you're just going to do everything until you die. And obviously that's not the way you want to go out. طيب, inshallah, we have to break for Salat al-Maghrib. بإذن الله عز وجل, we will resume with something more complicated after the Salah, so be ready. This was just massaging you into the discussion. What comes next, inshallah, is going to be a little more complex. So make a lot of dua in the Salah. Yeah.
Favorite around 8 p.m. inshallah. Barakallahu feek.
We'll bring here or there.
Everything?
We're back.
Right. All right. Alhamdulillah. Wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah amma ba'd. We continue where we left off before the salah. And one of the topics which we did not cover yet, because we jumped to the matter of afterlife and we connected it with the matter of the belief in the purpose of life, is the matter of revelation. Revelation. What is revelation? Linguistically and legislatively. Whenever we look at a term in Dawah, anytime we look at a term, we look at it from two perspectives. The linguistic meaning, which is the way it is used in the language, it may or may not be connected to the legislative meaning. Tamam? Usually there's a relationship. For instance, salah. Salah, linguistically, has many meanings, none of which will be what we do when we pray. You begin with Takbirat al-Ihram, and then you say Fatiha, then a surah, then ruku', then get up from ruku'. This technical meaning, this legislative meaning of salah, even though connected to the Arabic word sila, connection, it's connection, that's why we call it salah, because it's a connection between you and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But in terms of the definition of it, it's a completely different definition. Tamam? So when we look at any term, we're going to look at it linguistically and legislatively. So when we say revelation, I'm speaking English now. I'm not talking about wahi, which is the Arabic term. When you say revelation, what comes to mind? Linguistically. Bismillah.
Something being revealed.
Okay, outside of Islam, when do you hear that term? Take Islam out of the picture. Okay, in Islam you hear revelation all the time. That's part of the lingo that we speak. Outside of Islam, if you're just hanging out with a bunch of non-Muslims, or in your daily life, or in politics, or in science, whatever, when do you hear the word revelation? Or reveal? Huh? During a new discovery. Okay. It was a revelation, meaning it was something that the people did not know about before. Excellent. When else do you come across it? Thank you. When you launch a product, they say it's called they reveal. X company revealed their latest product. Meaning in the past, it was hidden and unknown, and now it became public information. Hello? That's linguistic. Legislative, now we have to get very specific and very technical. Forget about those generic meanings that you have in the language. Revelation, we're speaking about what?
Whatever was revealed to the Prophet from Allah.
Whatever was revealed to the Prophet singular?
Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Oh, Major blunder. Major blunder. By Jibreel, are you correcting him right now? You just, as they say in Arabic, you wanted to fix, somebody had a problem with their eye, you came to fix it, you blinded him. You put your finger in his eye, now he can't even see. Oh, no one has an objection to the gentleman here. He said, revelation is whatever Allah revealed to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he corrected it by saying through Jibreel. Sah? Am I understanding you all correctly? Huh? Yes?
It could be through a dream or the different types of revelation. So like,
Yes and no. Mashi, but you just fix my problem. I have a bigger problem with these two gentlemen right now. Thank you. What did you say? Say it out loud. Prophets. And why did you disregard and exclude Isa, Musa, Ibrahim? Did they or did they not receive revelation? They did. Wahi, revelation, is actually any type of divine contact. Any type of divine contact is called wahi. What's the evidence? What did Allah say about Musa?
فأوحينا إلى
وَأَوْحَيْنَا إِلَيْهَا. The mother of Musa, when Pharaoh was fetching for the children in order to kill them, and she didn't know what to do, Allah Azza wa Jalla inspired her. We use different now translations so that people won't think she's receiving wahi, i.e. like a prophet or a messenger. But the term used is, we revealed to her so that you should put him in the tabut and then put him in the yam, and then the yam will take him until they eventually found him. You know the story of Musa in the Quran. So it's actually not restricted to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even though he is the final recipient of al-wahi. And there will be no more wahi after the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam. Except in what? There's one exception. We should make this a workshop of Islam 101, not Dawah. Islam 101.
What was the question?
The question is, there's one exception. We said after Prophet ﷺ, will there be any wahi? There's an exception.
Allah wills.
Are you eating a sandwich in the middle of the class? It's okay, I'm drinking coffee. I'm just putting it like, let me put it down. Miskeen. Yalla. Yeah, sisters, hello? You guys are going to break my heart.
عيسى عليه السلام.
لا يا كابتن لا أنا عارف I had a feeling someone's going to go all the way to Isa's. إذا أنت ما عرفت حنكنسل الورك شوب كله ونروح بيتنا.
يعني قصدك إن نزول وحي ولا؟
لا, I didn't say anything about نزول وحي. I'm saying the idea of revelation or things related to revelation and prophethood, it continues, but in a different format. الرؤيا صالحة. The dreams. Is it the dreams part of prophethood and part of revelation? Of course, not the dreams that you see on Facebook. Huh? The dream where they tell you, attention Ummah. Sheikh Abdul Qadir al-Batatisi saw in his dream that the Prophet ﷺ is saying to all of you that you should do A, B, C, D, E, F, G. By the way, these are very common. And they get trendy. Some fulan sees the Prophet ﷺ in a dream, he now gives him new information that we as an ummah are supposed to act upon. If you don't have Facebook, you missed the train. You have to be on Facebook to know that there's more revelation that went missing until fulan saw it in his dream. This is all ludicrous. There's no such thing as receiving further instructions or further guidance from Prophet ﷺ about Islam that is yet pending with some guy, seeing it in his dream. Otherwise, we are all in the dark. طيب. So revelation then is any type of information or any divine contact. Divine contact, and that's why when a person receives divine contact, he becomes a nabi. They say nubbi'a. Nubbi'a and nubuwa from naba. You know Surah Al-Naba? عَمَّا يَتَسَاءَلُونَ عَنِ النَّبَأِ الْعَظِيمِ. This is the same word, by the way, from which the word nabi comes. A lot of people don't know this. The word nabi comes from naba. And naba is information. Information, i.e. in the context of nabi, that he received divine information from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Does that make him a Rasul? No. Prophethood is level 1. Every messenger is a prophet, but not every prophet is a messenger. Who's a prophet? Who's a classic example of a prophet who's not a messenger? Adam alayhi salam. Adam was not given any legislation that he was commanded to give it to the people. There was no shirk actually at his time. When did shirk happen? At the end, and then Allah sent who? The first Rasul? Nuh alayhi salam. Of course, there are more evidences from the hadith about why Adam is the first prophet and Nuh is the first messenger, but that's not the point of discussion. And when this is the idea of receiving divine contact, you become a nabi. Then when you're giving a shara, a legislation that you are expected to act upon and convey to others, you become a Rasul from Risala Yursil. You send someone, he is sent. Or they could be an existent Risala and a prophet comes to revive it. Like the many prophets of Bani Israel. The Sharia didn't change. It was the Sharia of the Torah, of Musa. But other prophets were sent to revive it and implement it and remind the people they were not giving something new that they were commanded to convey to others. Are we all on the same page? Come on. So one of the fundamentals of our belief is to believe in revelation. Now, where do we draw the line when giving da'wah, and what remains to be the strongest weapon ever in giving da'wah to the non-Muslims? When it comes to the subject matter of revelation, specifically if my audience is Jews and Christians. Jews very unlikely, Christians very common. I don't know, when was the last time you gave da'wah to a Jew? Huh? Never, right? For many people, the only time they ever give da'wah to the Jews, you know, is when they drink it. These are old father's jokes. Some of you still don't understand it. You don't have to understand it. It's for me. It's for self-entertainment. So, the Christians, however, they're a common recipient of da'wah. How do you leverage on certain facts about the Quran in order to completely eradicate the competitor from the ground up? Preservation. Good. Preservation is one half of the discussion. Where's the other half?
Imitability. Like try and make something like it.
Being something that you cannot imitate. Do you have an evidence for that?
I believe that Allah challenges the Quran.
Give me one evidence of the challenge. This is key. This is what I'm looking for. And those ayat, I know they're Surah Al-Baqarah, and most of you don't have Surah Al-Baqarah memorized. However, you can memorize those ayat for this purpose. Ma'alish. Yani when you want to get involved in da'wah, you need to make some effort. Anybody in any field of work any person who addresses a crowd, they usually do a lot of rehearsal and a lot of, I know I've seen them. In my field of work, in the telecommunication, I'm perplexed at how much these people, write and rehearse and repeat in order to, talk about a phone. Even though the way I see it is like, dude, you either know the phone or you don't. What are you doing all this for? Either you know your stuff or you don't know your stuff. Yet for a worldly purpose, human beings are willing to memorize an entire speech, verbatim, word for word, to deliver to a crowd in order to captivate them or to convince them or persuade them about the superiority of their product. Yet when we want to deliver the greatest product of all time, Islam, we can even memorize a few evidences for the purpose. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. Bear in mind that Allah says, وَلَقَدْ يَسَّرْنَا الْقُرْآنَ لِلذِّكْرِ فَهَلْ مِن مُدَّكِرٍ. Allah made the Quran easy. Any non-Arab, no one can say, Wallah, brother, ma'alish, I'm not an Arab, so? When was the last time you saw an Arab leading the Salah anyways? You can't tell, when a brother leads us in Salah nowadays, you can't tell what country he's from based on his recitation. When you speak to him afterwards, the accent will help you figure it out. But in terms of Quran, subhanallah, even if a person is the ajam, yani the ahruf, the Arabic letters are not easy. Just like for the Arabs, the English letters are not. You know where I'm going with this, right? For the Arabs, harful B is a calamity. The B, I know people that have been trying to say harful B for 10 years. For 10 years, wallah, he cannot say B. People. Pepsi. I want to pray. Ya akhi, pray is the sound of a donkey. Allah yarda alayk. You want to pray? I want to pray. And in the barking lot, you want to bark also? Yeah, you want to pray and bark. What did you leave for the animal kingdom? But leave some for us. And I've worked with these brothers for years. Ya akhi, please. It's a very gentle letter, Be كتكوت حلو صغير أمور. أعوذ بالله مستحيل. The same way حرف الدال does not exist. It's No specific nation intended. Some may struggle more than others, but you know what I'm talking about. So these are facts. These are facts. Some people that in their language, those letters, those sounds are not there, they struggle to bring them on. Comes to the Quran, it's not an issue anymore. So the brother may struggle in speaking Arabic separately, but when it comes to the Quran, mashallah, tabarakallah, he's a Sha'rawi. Not Sha'rawi, what is the other? Manshawi. Sha'rawi, be careful. The Arabs know what I'm talking about. Afallah anhu anhu. Hello? How did we get here? Now I get to see who's paying attention, who's just here to entertain himself.
You were asking for the evidence.
Huh? Hey. Okay? Challenge the Quran. How did we get to that point though? About the ayah, memorizing the ayah. So those ayat, in spite of you being whatever nationality, please don't give me this excuse that you cannot memorize a couple of ayats from Surah Al-Baqarah. So let's put you to the test. Anybody here can cite those ayat? Without looking at your phone, funny people. Don't put on no Quran Android and read it from there. If you have an iPhone, I don't even know if they have a Play Store in the first place for you to download apps. Anybody? Nobody?
What's the verse?
What was the verse? It's my job or your job? It's obviously your job right now. I can give you the verse, but I want to see if someone has it memorized. Or give me the English.
Hint la. Hint.
It's in the beginning of Surah Al-Baqarah, not too far off in the beginning.
Something like if they don't believe in it, they create something like it.
Yes, something like that. More specific, no? طيب. وإن كنتم في ريب مما نزلنا على عبدنا ما شاء الله طلعت الحين. And if you are in these ayat will remain to be forever the strongest da'wah tool in the world. And rest assured, if you're able to deliver this and nothing else, you've done your job. And as they say in the English language, to hell with them afterwards if they don't accept. Literally to hell with them. And if Allah says to the entire creation, if you are in doubt concerning that which we have sent down upon our slave, and I like the term slave because some people get sensitive from the term slave because their brains have been automatically programmed to think of modern day slavery, racial slavery. That is not what we're talking about. So I don't want to use the term servant in order to be more sensitive, supposedly, towards races, because as Muslim, you cannot possibly be a racist. If you're a real Muslim, there's no way on earth you're a racist. It just doesn't work. It doesn't click. It doesn't make sense. If you understand the Quran and the Sunnah, that is. If you're Mashi Halak Muslim, 50-50 Muslim, that you cherry pick from the deen what suits you, then you can find room for racism anywhere you want. But if you truly follow the teachings of Islam, you cannot possibly think you're better than anyone because of skin color or the color of your passport. Are we on the same page? That said, the term slave is the appropriate term for abd when it comes to Abdullah. So if Allah says, if you are in doubt concerning that which we have sent down upon our slave, فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِثْلِهِ, then produce a chapter the like thereof. Miraculously, and for our own good, what is the smallest surah in the Quran? Because Allah says, بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِثْلِهِ, and one surah will fit the description. What's the smallest surah? Surah Al-Kawthar. Some of you know the lesson. How many words? 10 words. 10 words. إِنَّا أَعْطَيْنَاكَ الْكَوْثَرَ فَصَلِّ لِرَبِّكَ وَانْحَرْ إِنَّ شَانِئَكَ هُوَ الْأَبْتَرُ. 10 words, a line and a half. 3 ayat. Produce the chapter the like thereof. Now, that in and of itself is audacious. If you or any human being were to make a challenge like this, we would say that's audacious. That's a lot of audacity you have. That's a lot of, you're over-exaggerating your position to be making a challenge of this nature. Why? Because no human being has such authority. How can you claim if you wrote a book and in that book there's a chapter that was only a line and a half, how can you ever say to the entire world and all the other authors in the world, I challenge all of y'all combined to bring or to write a chapter like mine, which is a line and a half. Because easily someone can say, look, man, without even, already last week, this guy's stuff is superior to yours. And the case will be closed. Now, what's amazing about this ayah or this challenge is that it also predicted the outcome. فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ مِّن مِّثْلِهِ وَادْعُوا شُهَدَاءَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ, and then call on to your witnesses, all of those who can witness and help in this project, jinn and ins. In kuntum sadiqin, if you are truthful. Then comes the finale. That comes the conclusive, destructive end result. فَإِن لَمْ تَفْعَلُوا وَلَنْ تَفْعَلُوا. If you're unable to do it and you will never be able to do it, فَاتَّقُوا النَّارِ, then protect yourselves from the fire. Do you people understand? The Quraysh were mad. They were mad. They went crazy trying to kill the Prophet ﷺ. They didn't leave anything they didn't accuse him of. What are some of the things they accused him of? Sahir, magician, Majnoon, he's insane. Sha'ir, he's a poet. Kahin, a soothsayer. They didn't leave anything under the sun, even though they are the same people that they used to say what? As-Sadiq al-Amin, the truthful, the trustworthy one. Now that they have, as they say today, beef, now that they have issues with him, they started to invent all types of titles and all types of lies. Okay, was there any group of people more eloquent and more well-versed in the Arabic language than those people specifically? No, those were the kings of the language. Actually, the Arabs had nothing going for them. Nowadays, the Arabs have a lot going on for them. You go to Dubai, you say, MashaAllah, tabarakallah, what is this? Am I in LA? You see a lot of advancement, which is from the prediction of the Prophet ﷺ, that they will compete in tall buildings. Now you go to some Arab world, you see there's advancement. Back then, what were they doing in Quraysh? What did they have going for them? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Even business, even for trade, they had to go to Sham. They had to go to Levant in order to do trade. And only there was Mecca. Mecca was just attracting people. Nothing. But the Arabs were known for some traits. They were known for generosity. They were known for this and that. One of them, and the most important of them, was their poetry and their language. That was their edge. That was their advantage. Just like today, certain countries are known for producing certain type of people. Tamam? For example, Brazilians produce what?
Footballers.
Why some of you are reluctant? Footballers, right? Have you ever watched Brazil play? And other teams? It's not the same. It is not the same. There's a touch. There's a smooth flow for their game that seems natural that you don't find elsewhere. Not in Europe and not in other countries. There might be a lot more tactical stuff in other countries, but in terms of the natural beauty of the play, Brazilians are in a club of their own or in a whatever level of their own. Of course, it's a subjective opinion. But you cannot deny Pelé or Ronaldo or the other ones not Ronaldo, the Portuguese one, the old Ronaldo, the one who sha'ab then بالنص. People know that some countries produce, for example, brothers who are all IT. Where do they come from? The IT people are from where? Why not shy? From India. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. Certain countries produce certain types of people. Not restricted to them, but more common than others. So the Arabs had language. But were the Arabs trying to debunk the da'wah of the Prophet ﷺ? Yes or no?
Yes.
would it have been easy for them to meet this challenge and end Islam instead of trying to kill him, alayhi salam, trying to murder him, trying to assassinate him? All of these things that they were calling him names, what would have been easier? Allah says, فَأْتُوا بِسُورَةٍ بِمِثْلِهِ وَادْعُوا شُهَدَاءَكُم مِّن دُونِ اللَّهِ إِن كُنتُمْ صَادِقِينَ فَإِن لَّن تَفْعَلُوا وَلَن تَفْعَلُوا. You will never be able to do it. And here we are, 1400 some years later. Do you know that no one has been able to meet this challenge in spite of its simplicity? In spite of its simplicity, the closest anyone ever came was Anis Shorosh. Anis Shorosh is a Palestinian Christian priest, or I don't know what the term they use for them, another pastor or something like that, right? And he's one of those who debated Ahmadiyyat, rahimahullah. And him and all these fellow Christian Palestinians, because there's a lot of Palestinians and a lot of Christians in Palestine, Arabs, and they're Arabs, by the way. They all came together to write the Furqan, Al-Furqan, because they wanted to meet the challenge and prove to the world that this Quran is nothing special and that anybody can come along and write ayat that sound the same and just change some words and then ta-da, here we are. And they did it. They actually went on stage to recite some of these lovely ayat, supposedly from Al-Furqan. And you know what they did? They used exactly the same words as the Quran, but they will change the word to Yasur. So the best they were able to do is come up with a story where they were imitating everything in the Quran and only replacing some words to make it seem as though this is like the Quran. What was the end result? Do you guys know the end result of this experiment? And this, you know how many years it took them writing? They took years. It was a project of years. Them coming together as a group of people. All of them are educated and well-versed in English and Arabic, and they work together. What was the end result of this project? Does anyone know? You guys. You are the end result. You don't know about it. How successful was it? So successful that you've never heard of it. It died out so quickly that beyond those who watched the debate like me, no one knows about it. That's how much of a fail it was. Do you understand what kind of fail that is? That is like the biggest L in the history of mankind. That they all worked together and then they made it, hours, days spent writing and authoring, and Allah, what they were thinking, oh Allah, this is going to be great, we're going to destroy Islam, and they come and recite it, people started, by the way, when they were reciting these ayat, the crowd was laughing. They were like, what are these guys doing? Get off stage, boo, boo, boo them off stage. And then it ended. All these years down the drain, flushed down the toilet. Why? Because you can't. So when I'm meeting with an atheist, I don't waste much time with this guy, man. There's not much time to waste. You're going to go around in circles for days on end. Days on end having a discussion. I say, listen. This is the challenge of the Quran. You're an educated person, right? You want to prove to me, this is my allegation, my claim. As a claimant, I'm saying that this book is from Allah. You're saying it's not from God. There's no God and it's not from God. So now it's on you to prove. It's on you to disprove it. I'm giving you a challenge that God gave you. You and your likes, go ahead and continue this project that many people started many years before and it never saw the light, and bring something like the Quran. Just make it happen, and then you would win the challenge. But let me give you good news or bad news for you. You will never be able to do it. Because for 1400 years, no one's been able to do it, not even as simple as a line and a half. Once I prove the authoritative nature of the Quran, then it's binding on him to accept everything afterwards. Because you cannot convince him logically about everything. Islam allows this, Islam allows that, Islam allows this, Islam, this is halal, this is haram. Some of these things, these people can't fathom, right? They can't fathom. What do you mean I can't shake hands with a woman? Are you kidding me? I cannot shake hands with a lady? What are you guys? Are you freaks? You think I'm going to get excited if I shook a hand of a woman? You think, is that all I think about? You think people are that, you know how it is. And you're like, I mean, no, I mean, I don't know. I know, yes, you make sense, but you drown in 2 inches of water. You drown in 2 inches of water. So some of these things, if they can't fathom, they can't wrap their head around them. If I prove to him that the Quran is from Allah, then the rest is done. You've already proven everything that Islam teaches, and you've disproven all the other false religions just by virtue that this Quran is from Allah. If you cannot prove the Quran is from Allah, then every time you quote an ayah, he's going to say, why are you quoting the Quran? I don't believe in the Quran in the first place. True or false? Says, what's the purpose of creation? You say, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. Says, well, very nice. That's for you, Habibi. I don't believe in the Quran. I don't believe in God in the first place. You're citing an ayah from your book. It's irrelevant to the disbeliever. You understand? Anything you're trying to tell them, it doesn't resonate. I prove to them that they cannot disprove the Quran. Now, if they reject, mind you, you did your job. You said, go ahead. Are you able to learn a language? Go hire people that can learn, that can teach you the language. It's on you to prove this Quran. I'm convinced, I'm done. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to die. As far as I'm concerned, I'm ready to meet my Lord. You're the one who has an issue, sah? So now it's on you to prove that my allegation is not sound. Otherwise, you've lost. If they go to try, they will not be able to do it. And if they don't, then if they reject the Quran, then Allah will not ask you about anything else afterwards. You've proven to them, you've given them the same challenge Allah gave the creation. This is a challenge from Allah, not from you. Mind you, if you came up with the challenge, you say, Habibi, go sleep, you on your challenge. Because your challenge may be useless. This is a divine challenge from Allah, who knows what the humans are capable of doing and they're incapable of doing. And Allah knows if someone were to meet this challenge, Islam would be eradicated. Because it's a divine challenge that was met by a human being. The creation overcame the creator. End of story, end of discussion. It's not going to happen. So you can rest assured, it's not going to happen. You say, okay, are you sure? I'm telling you, the Arabs who called the Prophet ﷺ magician and soothsayer and everything under the sun, they were not able to meet this challenge. They were not able to meet this challenge. So much so that Allah already told us what's going to happen to Abu Lahab. تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب ما أغنى عنه ماله ما كسب. You know that the scholars say this is a miracle in and of itself. All Abu Lahab had to do was become one of the munafiqeen at that time. An ayah was revealed, surah was revealed while he's alive. Hello? How easy is it for him to say, oh, by the way, أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد محمد رسول الله. Ha! The surah says that he's going to hell. صح? Him and his wife. If he claimed to be a Muslim, what are you going to do with the surah? Remove it? Abrogate it? What will you do? He didn't manage to pull this one off either. He did not manage to pull it off. That was the end of it. It applied until he died. Him and his wife. So you have all these evidences and traces that are historical. At the time of the Prophet ﷺ, the Qurayshis did not want. Look, these are very important key factors because it's part of the other discussion. What is another thing that people make a big fuss about today, which I will discuss later, inshallah, but I want to give you a little, it's called foreshadowing. I'm going to give you some foreshadowing about it before we go back to it later on in this discussion, inshallah. What is another thing that the kuffar make a big fuss about today, that at the time of the Prophet ﷺ was a no biggie? That today they say, how is it? And this is the biggest claim. They say that there's something wrong with the Prophet ﷺ, according to them.
The age of marriage?
Bravo. His marriage to Aisha. His marriage to Aisha, radiallahu anha. We will discuss the details later. That is another thing that if it were to be a problem, then the Qurayshi should have been, hey, what, they would have made a big fuss about it. No one ever said a word. Why? Because that was not an issue then. It is an issue now for certain people with certain agendas and certain objectives and certain preferences. That's another discussion. We can address that, inshallah. But back then, that was never an issue. So that gives you an insight about what are the points that you need to focus on. So even if you cannot justify to a disbeliever the Prophet's marriage to Aisha sallallahu alaihi wasallam, it's not your job to do so. It is your job, however, to teach them Tawheed and to deliver them the message of Tawheed and to prove to them that the Quran is not possible to be replicated, and the challenge that Allah gave remains to be valid and alive and available for anybody to meet it. Until then, the entire mankind has to submit that this Quran is from Allah. Otherwise, it's easy. And by the way, if this were to be any other subject, then all of the people would have risen to the occasion. Think about any rapper. Okay, those of you who, anybody who used to listen to music in the past and stopped? Okay, good. If you're still listening, don't raise your hand. We don't want to know what's going on in your life. But if you know anything about lyricists, there was always a battle. And back when I was in my Jahiliyyah, this was always a point of discussion. Who's the illest lyricist? And some names you might not even know, right? In terms of wordplay and not the commercial music of the club songs and all this stupidity where they just talk about women and whatever. There were people that actually took this as an art, which is the closest thing to poetry. So much so that if you actually remove the music, it's poetry. It's poetry. And when any one of them made the claim that he is the greatest lyricist of all time, believe me, all the other lyricists will not be quiet. And they will release a diss track to get on his case and to refute him and to do their thing. It doesn't go unnoticed. It just doesn't go away. Except the challenge of the Quran. So those people who claim that it's not our job, say you're bluffing. If you really care, you would actually rise for the occasion and you would meet the challenge. What's the big deal? You have to learn a language, go ahead. Or use استعين بصديق. Find a friend who can help you in this project. So it's a very strong point for your da'wah. But after discussing the matter of revelation and the Quran being superior over, of course, it goes without saying that the Bible has been distorted and the Torah has been distorted. Now, what is our position as Muslims regarding the Bible and the Old Testament and New Testament? Who can give us a brief? What is the Islamic position regarding those books? Because you have many approaches in da'wah. Some people that have half of the Bible memorized. He's actually able to cite more Bible than Quran. Sahih? And then you have another people who say, some Christians say, wait a second, you say that our book is distorted. You're like, yeah. So why are you citing it? You tell him, God says, for God, so, or give him an ayah or a verse that everybody knows. What is it? The first commandment. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. So whoever should love the Lord with all his heart, with all his soul, with all his mind, with all his strength. Anyways, the First Testament. You quote this as an evidence from the Bible, and a Christian says, wait, do you believe the Bible is from God? You believe it's preserved? You say no. Then why are you citing my book when you don't believe in it as authoritative in the first place? How do you know that this verse is not distorted also? So how do you deal with this dilemma? We have a position. I know you know, but I need to see some new faces. The new faces that came at the end. Would you like to participate and contribute? It's free. Just being put on the spot and some pressure, that's it. No. Let me ask you, you seriously guys, you on your own, if you saw someone quote the Bible, how do you understand it? When we know that the Bible is distorted. Or does anyone here believe that the Bible is preserved? Anyone here believes the Bible is preserved by Allah? It's intact, just like it was revealed unto Musa and Isa. Compiled in the Old Testament, New Testament, put together in a book called the Bible, and it's tamam. You can use it as a guidance. Anyone believes that? No. Everybody believes that there's changes that were made. طيب. تفضل.
You know, the Torah and Injil of that time it's not the one we have today. You know, these ones were written by people, you know, Mark, Luke, John. But you know, for the Quran, we believe it's from Allah and it's been preserved for 200 years.
Okay, nice try, but I need something stronger. This was half an espresso. I need a double shot. تفضل يا شيخ.
We don't deny it and we don't accept it. لا نصدقه ولا نكذبه من ناحية
لا 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 كده بس. لا نصدقه ولا نكذبه. ما في تفصيل؟ في تفصيل. طيب, sisters, does anybody know the breakdown? Nobody wants to try? It's very simple. There are things in the Bible that are confirmed by things in the Quran and the Sunnah. We say, no problemo, Señor. In the Bible, it teaches the first commandment. In the Quran and Sunnah, we have the first commandment that you should worship Allah alone, and you should love Allah with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. La ilaha illallah. ما في مشكلة. Hello? And there are things in the Bible that have been what? Explicitly contradicted and negated by the Quran. We dismiss. We say this is tahrif. So the ayah, John 3:16, for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, so that whoever believes in him shall have eternal life and not die, blah, blah, blah. We said, تعال, ايش اي كلام فاضي. لم يلد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا احد. ما اتخذ الله من ولد وما كان معه من اله. لقد كفر الذين قالوا ان الله المسيح عيسى ابن مريم. Bring him all the ayat that explicitly say Jesus and Allah did not take any children. Tamam? So now we have a verse from the Bible that contradicts Islamic teachings. We automatically assume this is from the tahrif, this is from the distortions and the changes that have undergone. Your answer now answers the third part. Anything which the Quran and the Sunnah neither confirm nor negate, we also neither confirm nor negate. And that's the most just you can ever be. Because you cannot be Arabic Muslim, no, it's from the Bible, dismiss. Maybe it's from Allah. And you cannot say it is correct. Maybe it's from the distortion. So what do we have? We have a neutral position. Some teachings, some verses in the Bible that the Quran and Sunnah neither affirmed nor negated, we take exactly the same position. We say Allahu A'lam. But do we act upon them? No. They're just information to have. They are FYI. You know what FYI stands for? You guys don't send emails? Akid? Then what does MBA stand for? What kind of irrelevant question is this? They're like, what? National Bank of Alabama. Or National Basketball Association. Like, what are the fifth pillar that we need to discuss is the, we already addressed that, the prophets. Why do we need prophets? Yalla. Let's hear you out.
To receive revelation.
You need prophets to receive revelation? You or the prophets?
The revelation is through the prophets, so you need someone like trustworthy to tell us the revelation.
Like, why can't it be like everybody wishes it to be? How do the people wish it to be in general? The non-Muslims, what is their preference that you hear all the time? They want Allah just to appear in front of them. You know, straightforward. Why all this? Why the complicated process? Let Allah reveal Himself before them and say to mankind, I am your Lord. And then what's going to happen afterwards? Everybody's going to what? Believe. صح? غلط. They will not believe. And if they believe, it is not called belief anymore in the first place. It is called acknowledgement. You're acknowledging something. Did you really believe in it? You know what? You know the concept of belief is based on what? It's based on the unseen. Otherwise, it's absolutely useless for you to acknowledge or reject evidence. Let's say you know that I'm an honest person. I don't joke. I don't lie even when joking. Okay, even when I joke, I don't lie ever. And I'm testing your faith in me. Hello? I tell you, I swear, or I have a phone on my lap. I have a phone on my lap. What would be the test of faith? And let's say someone put a gun to your head. And they said, depending on the result, what is your statement? Do you believe he has a phone on his lap? If it turns out to be wrong, we're going to shoot you dead. In this situation, what would faith require of you? What are you going to go through your head? Wait, this guy, I know he doesn't joke like this. Okay? He used certain words. In the affirmative, there's no tawiyah in the kalam, there's no playing around with words. Based on knowing this individual, I will put my life on the line, and I will say that he has a phone on his lap, even though I did not see it. That's faith. Otherwise, if you see the phone on my lap, and you say, yeah, he has a phone on his lap, MashaAllah, what is this iman? This is useless. It's absolutely useless. If Allah appeared before them and they all saw Allah, and they're like, okay, now we're good. Yani, it doesn't add up and it doesn't make sense. Every one of the six articles of faith, all of them are what? From the unseen. They might have some elements of the tangible, otherwise they're all on the unseen. And tu'mina billah. Have you seen Allah? No. Wa malaikatihi. Have you seen the angels? No. Wa rusulihi. Have you seen the messengers? Actually, we haven't seen any. Wa kutubihi. Have you seen the scriptures of the old? No. We only have the Quran. Tamam? So that's one exception. Wa al-yawm al-akhir. Have you seen the last day? Wa qadar khayri wa sharri. Have you seen qadar in a form? No. Actually, it's all belief in the unseen. And that's what makes you a believer. If everything was in front of you, you're not a believer anymore. You're just acknowledging what's going on. Yeah, okay, yeah, I see the phone on his lap. All right. Next. There will be no point in the entire discussion. So faith is based on you. But however, we have to qualify this perception wherein the people don't confuse this with blind, unsubstantiated faith. Faith that comes out of nothing. Just believe for the sake of believing. This is where you can say, hey, no. Yes, I have faith after I have signs. Allah gave us signs everywhere around us, and based on those signs, I developed my faith. Now that I have the faith based on the signs, I'm good to go. Not some blind faith. Otherwise, somebody will tell you to believe in any false religion, and then you're expected to believe. You understand the difference? So there is an element of reasoning involved in it, but this reasoning is based on your analysis of facts and signs that Allah Azza wa Jal has given us. Ones which cannot be denied. The cycle of life and death cannot be denied. The alternation of the night and the day cannot be denied. The growing of vegetation in front of you cannot be denied. The process of life, the life cycle, you being nothing and coming from a sperm, and the ovulation process, then the pregnancy process, then all the embryological steps that the sperm goes through, and it grows into bones. Do you understand what's going on? How can a sperm become bones? How is that? How is it going to come? How is the solid going to come from the liquid in this manner? Inside where? The mother's womb, who's walking around in the kitchen. Guys, people take these things for granted, and this is where you need to grab the atheist. And even though it's like, it's so evident, but this is what they're missing. They're missing this entire discussion. They They don't ponder and reflect on these facts. But you need to do so on your own, because this will strengthen your iman. I can't fathom how that this embryo will live in its mother's womb for 9 months or 6 months, depending on Allah's decree, and then it comes out. I'm not going to get into the technicalities and the details of which I don't want you to imagine right now, but they're pretty wild, just pretty wild, for a human being to come out from there. And then this baby who's so fragile, you blow on him, he falls. How does he go through the stage of being raised? He has a mother dedicated for his nursing, so her body becomes a milk production factory. And then she takes care of him until it's you. Wow. Just wow. Are you kidding me? This is what? How else can you explain this? These are things that we see. These are undeniable signs. No one can come and say afterwards, well, I have to see God. I haven't seen God. I haven't seen any signs of God. You're a liar, man. You are a liar. Every atheist on earth is a liar. I swear by Allah. I swear by Allah, there is no real atheist on earth. All they're doing is they're very successful in hiding it. Their fitrah cannot run away. You cannot run away from your fitrah. You can play around and jump around and put on all types of shows and pretend to be a scientist of the highest order. At the end of the day, there is no running around from facts. You're just smarter than others in playing with words, articulating yourself a certain way, acting. Some of us know how excellent actors we can be. Each one of you knows that you can really put on an act if you have to. Sah wala la? And sometimes you impress yourself. Wow, and what am I doing here? I should be in Hollywood right now making buckloads of money. And you're just an ordinary person, maybe with limited IQ, like me. Those guys, all they're doing is they have a better act, and they're more educated maybe, or they're more philosophical. That's it. Otherwise, the core is the same. So every atheist is just putting on a show to pretend that somehow he doesn't know in his fitrah that La ilaha illallah is there. Even though we know from the Quran, does anyone know the ayah? When Allah took out from the loins of Adam, his children, وَقَالَ أَلَسْتُ بِرَبِّكُمْ, am I not your Lord? قَالُوا بَلَى. Everybody said yes. Everybody confessed that Allah Azza wa Jalla is our Lord. أَن تَقُولُ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ إِنَّا كُنَّا عَنْ هَذَا غَافِلُونَ. Why? So that you don't say on the Day of Judgment, oh, we didn't know. We had no idea this was the case. This is how the atheist is going to come. Oh, really? Oh, wow. There's a Day of Judgment. Oh, what's going on here? Shut up. You knew all along. You can't come and say, I didn't know. Allah put it in your innate nature. You're just a pretender. You're just a great actor. And you want to keep acting around with me? Knock yourself out, Habibi. I'm not gonna, twist and turn on my bed and not be able to see because you want to reject your creator. You can reject all you want, but when the angel of death comes to you, don't call me. Actually, call me. I will come and try to give you a hand. Maybe, just maybe, you will accept before you die. Otherwise, everybody's gonna die and they're gonna meet Allah. They will meet the angels and they're gonna ask them, Mar Rabbuk. Why are they going to ask him about Rabbuk? Because they know already who's their Lord. What is he going to say? The same thing he will say now. That's what the hadith says. He will say, he can't come up with an answer. Suddenly they don't know, but they know all along Allah. So whenever you give da'wah, you're always giving da'wah from above, from a superior position. And your job is to simplify the message as much as possible so that the person can stop being funny and accept Islam. If they do it, congratulations, alhamdulillah, we give them a hug and a kiss and a new brother in faith. If he doesn't, he has made his choice in life. And Allah told already the Prophet ﷺ, and he told us that you should what? You should not, إِنَّكَ لَا تَهْدِي مَنْ أَحْبَبْتَ. You do not guide those who you love. وَلَكِنَّ اللَّهَ يَهْدِي مَن يَشَاءُ. Who does Allah guide though? Those who want guidance. وَالَّذِينَ جَاهَدُوا فِينَا لَنَهْدِيَنَّهُمْ سُبُلَنَا. Those who strive and make an effort for Allah, Allah will guide them to the path. Those who are disdain, they're too arrogant, they feel that they don't need Allah, no problem. They will knock themselves out their entire life and live however they want to live, but on Yawm al-Qiyamah, it will be a completely different ballgame. So why do we need messengers then? Because the messengers are, as Allah says, مُبَشِّرِينَ وَمُنْذِرِينَ. The old school way of dealing with everything. And each one of us performs based on these two principles. No exception to the rule. What is Mubashirin and Mundhirin? I promise you with good news, I promise you a reward, or I warn you against a punishment. How do parents raise children? Right? With a stick? No. That's not supposed to be the case. How do you raise children? It's always a system of what? Reward and punishment. But let me ask you a question. Does this school have a system of reward or punishment? Yes or no? You miss class, you don't do your homework, what, they going to reward you? Oh, bravo, mashallah. Fadda, here's your degree. ولا اطلع برا. اطلع برا اروح بيت ابوك. We think we're in kindergarten here, even in kindergarten, they have a reward and a punishment system. What about work? Do you work fi sabilillah in the company, or do you work for nothing? Give me the fulus, baby. Give me the money. Hey, I'm here for a salary. I'm here to get paid. Does the company does not punish you if you don't come on time? Or if you violate the company? Everything in this world around us is what? The system of reward and punishment. Otherwise, nothing would work. If you remove those two, it's chaos. You try. Try in any system in the world, remove reward and punishment, and you will have utter chaos. In the streets, if they remove the police, if there was no security, no police, because that's a form of reward and punishment. Obviously, there's not much reward with them, plenty of punishment. What would happen in the streets? If the criminal could run free and kill everybody and there's no prison as a punishment, or there's no ramification from an Islamic point of view, chop off the hand of the thief and kill the killer and so on and so forth, what would happen? It'll be chaos. Everything is based on these two principles. The prophets and the messengers came as mubashirina wa mundhirin, so that the people will not have any hujjah against Allah Azza wa Jalla on Yawm al-Qiyamah. They deliver to them. And in the greatest scheme of things, what is the ultimate reward and the ultimate punishment for us? Jannah and Jahannam. And enough and sufficient are these two as a reward and a punishment. Forget about everything else in this world. No matter what they reward you, you're going to be this and you're going to get this and you will be rich and. When you die, you're taking none of it with you. You will go to the grave in a shroud that costs maybe 3, 4, 5, 10 ringgits. I don't know how much it costs. A white, cheap fabric that they wrap you in. Has anyone taken his belly with him to the grave to have a few spins down there? Or they give him a suitcase of money? Yeah, they tried it at the time of the pharaohs, right? They used to bury them with gold and apples and oranges, and then when they dug them up, they still found the money in the gold, the apples and the oranges. Nothing was consumed because they thought they will take it with them to the next life, And the next life has a different currency. You cannot use this worldly wealth. So the punishment of the hellfire is enough as a scary thing for any human being. Because no matter what, you're not going to take anything with you. And on the flip side, the greatest reward of all is what? Jannah. You see what you're going through right now? It sucks. Whatever it is whatever life you're living right now, no matter how good it is, wallahi, it sucks. You know why it sucks? Because it's not going to last. Dawah al-mahal من المحال. The continuity of a condition is impossible. You cannot your entire life be chilling. You will have some rough and horrible days that are waiting for you right now. One day you're on top of the world, next thing you know, your uncle died and your aunt died and your relative died and your parents died, and next thing you know, the whole world is gloomy and the world is upside down, and you don't want to live anymore. وحالتك حالة. What happened? Weren't you the happy Joe a few weeks ago? Yeah. But it doesn't continue. So no matter what it is, no matter how lovely and lavish your life is, it's not going to continue. Let's say you were better than most, still managed to live a Hollywood lifestyle your whole life. When you die, it's done. But then Jannah, there's no remorse and no hardship and no ill feelings, no feeling of deprivation. So when someone says, men will have hur al-ain, all these women, because we're sick-minded, we're obsessed with women. Okay, and that's how Allah created us. What's your problem? Men are monogamous or polygamous in nature. Polygamous in nature. Even the most loyal boyfriend checks out at least 100 girls a day. The most loyal boyfriend, who's not a Muslim, I'm not talking about Muslims, I'm talking about the lovebirds, checks out 1 million girls a day, online, offline, even if she's next to him, with the side of his eye. Until I would never cheat on her. You'll never cheat on her because nobody's coming after you. Because nobody wants you anyways. But if you were some macho man, some, I don't know, what do they call them? Don Juan de Marco. Well, you guys are too young for this stuff. I don't know, think of a common name in this day and time. If women were coming after you, Top G? Oh, Andrew Tate? Yeah, but Andrew, they say that I copy his look. I had this look before Andrew Tate was born. Well, I didn't even know about him until like few months ago, man, because he became Muslim. But that's the funny thing. People come with affirmative. Stop copying him. What? Look at my lectures from 10 years ago, man. And how did he get to Andrew Tate? So the people, if that man was having women offer themselves to him, then you can check his loyalty. Then if he's alone and his girlfriend is completely out of the picture, she's in one country, he's in another country, and if he were to commit the act of cheating on her, no one would ever know. I can promise you that 99.99% of men will fail. Husbands, forget about boyfriends. If he knows that no one will know, and he's not a believer. If he's a believer, you have a million reasons not to go there. But if you're a disbeliever, wow. You're gonna find one cute guy. Oh, I love her so much. You're an exception to the rule. Every other man will, he will tell you, okay, so what? I still love her. This was a physical, consensual act between two adults. That was nothing more than just physical entertainment, similar to me going to, riding a car or jumping on a horse. There's no difference between them. That's how you get philosophical. If you really want to be funny with them, use their same psyche and the same thinking. What's the big deal, man? Lady, why are you tripping? His heart belongs to you. His body wants someone else. It happens all the time. Do you not sit in class and your heart is outside the class, but you're physically with the professor? Yo, he was thinking about you while he was with this lady. Fix the problem. Wallah, you will never be able to fix the problem because we can go around in circles forever. Only Islam fixes all this nonsense, by the way. How did we get to men and women? It's always a discussion. Loyalty, iman, faith. Oh yeah, hur al-ain. So someone will say, so men are obsessed with women. So what about women? What about women? How come they don't get to have many men in Jannah? And the simple answer to this The simple answer to this is what? Who has an answer? There are two answers. Someone says, you're saying if you go to Jannah, you have at least 2 hur al-ain. These are women that you're going to enjoy besides your wife if she makes it to Jannah with you. Because some are trying to get rid of her now. So what about women? How come the women, there's nothing that mentions hur al-ain for her? How do you address this dilemma? Because the feminists go crazy. What is this sexism? What's with the male gender always getting everything? Wow, not even a single answer. There are two answers. One of them is the reason why we started this discussion in the first place. Meaning one of the answers is related to my previous point, which I've been speaking about for the last 15 minutes maybe. Y'all lost the point, صح? I was saying in Jannah there's no hard feelings and no remorse and no regret and everybody's going to be chilling. Yes? Because we don't want any. Because you don't want any. That's nice. That's actually factual for many sisters, not all. I've heard some wild sisters say, no, I want 10 men. Allah yashfiki, ya Rab. But until then, until Allah yashfiki, you cannot say no. Okay? She's saying, not only you, I'm wild. Fine, you're wild. Fine. That's not an answer though. Because that's your opinion, which I agree with, but it's not someone else's opinion. Women are created differently. This is in dunya. We're talking about akhirah. But that's not the answer. You're right next to it, bro. Come on, man. Come on.
Jannah is like a place where you won't feel any, like, it's the best, so.
Beautiful. That should be the second answer. The first answer is actually we don't know. Ya Jama'ah, before you deny something, do we have anything in the Quran that says that women will not get? We don't know. And if anything, we have a general ayah that says what? لَهُمْ مَا يَشَاءُونَ فِيهَا. صح? They will have whatever they wish for therein. So one general ayah says that everybody in Jannah will get whatever they want. Tamam? The fact that it did not specify that women will have men does not mean that they will not, according to the general meaning of the ayah, because the ayah says they will have whatever they wish. If one of them will wish for more, she will get. Number one. You understand? You're not contradicting a text that says women will only get their husbands. In which case, now you're using your intellect over revelation, not acceptable. Revelation is given precedence over your intellect, because your intellect may fail you. The second answer is that, Ya Habibi, you are thinking, this lady is thinking now that when she goes to Jannah, she would also want more than one man. But you don't understand Jannah. You will not go to Jannah before you cleansed. For men, Allah kept that need in Jannah. For men, Allah kept it for us explicitly. That's why we know we get hur al-ain. For women, it wasn't mentioned. Therefore, no woman would ever be in Jannah be like, I want more. And then be deprived. You understand? So now you're thinking, this is what I would want if I'm there. You make it there first. And don't worry about the rest. You understand? You cannot think so much in advance about what you will want then, because you are not there. And there's a process of cleansing that you will go through before you enter Jannah, where no one would feel deprived or underprivileged, or they would have an unfulfilled wish. Are we clear? We're on the same page. Tamam, that's very important. Because, a lot of people get sensitive about this issue. But, how much time do I have, sir? 25 minutes only? Right, mashallah. Every time I ask a question, you're going to add 10 minutes? How much? I ask you a third time, you're going to add more? Right. Are we supposed to do this interactive session? You have an interactive session where we're gonna pair you guys in groups and there will be judges, and are we gonna go through that? Oh yeah, bismillah. Who's gonna help me manage this? I need volunteers. Okay guys, just so you know, we're gonna divide you into 3 groups. Hello? One group will be judges, and another group will be questioners, and the third group will be answerers. I don't know if that's an English word in the first place. So the question and answer people have to come on stage. Sisters, I'm sorry, you're disqualified. Judges will give points which are totaled on the whiteboard table. No? And then basically we'll ask questions. Some of the questions that we're asked, so a group of people will ask, another group will answer, and the judges will basically put the points. So now you guys make the division because I can't do that on my own.
1, 2, 3, depending on the season.
Depending on the seats, he's by himself. So the sisters are one group. All the sisters are one group, and he belongs to you guys. Second group, like and those guys are the third group. So numbers are not important because numbers wise they're 3, 5, 7, and you guys are a lot more. You guys are like 11, 12. عادي؟ خلاص he gave up on you and he sold you for 2 peanuts. ما في مشكلة. ما شاء الله تبارك الله. The bond is very strong over here. At the first opportunity, all right, I'm gone. Right, so let's do this. So this is one group. So who's what? You guys are what?
Judges.
I think the sisters should be the judges. Yeah, they usually judge well because they don't use emotions at all. You guys are slow. Nobody's picking up on the jokes. It's okay. So the sisters are going to be the judges, and y'all going to be the, You're the questioners, and those are the answers. I think it's fair. This guy not only bailed out on you, he also dictated what's going to happen to you. Actually, this is like treachery level 566. We'll meet you outside, inshallah.
We did answer all the questions here in the.
No.
They should answer some questions too.
That's a good point. Oh yeah, that's a good point. We can reverse it on you because they already answered all the questions while y'all were just sitting there getting entertained. So they are the questioners and you are the answerers. We want to dig some of that good stuff from you.
Come back there.
Yalla, become. You're already. You guys need to come closer. No one, you're gonna speak to the back to teleport. Huh? تعال يا ابوي ايش audience. Oh, I'm an audience too. I'm watching the whole thing go down. Right, and how do you do the thing now? You guys are gonna come up with the questions for them. Hey, تمام يلا. يلا, you have a couple of minutes. Let's do this.
Get a mic so everyone can.
Alhamdulillah. This is so much fun. Hey, give him some loaded question, man, that would put him to the test. Wait, but I'm surprised that the answers are having a more active discussion than the questioners. Because your job is just to wait for the question to come. Are you allowed to what? ChatGPT? What is ChatGPT?
For that one?
I know what ChatGPT is, but okay, I'll put it like, no, you cannot even, bro, come on, man, what's the point? It is not, but in Saudi, we don't have it, believe it or not. It's, even with VPN, there's like, really, they're really strict against it. Yeah, anyway, so you guys have to use your organic, natural database to the best of your ability. Have a discussion. I will interfere and help you here and there, but we want it to come from the heart. Unless it's zero, everybody's just on zero. In which case, Allah musta'an. It proves that you guys need the workshop. If you don't have any answers, it means that you really need this workshop. This guy's writing an essay. No, one question, please. The judges are anxiously waiting. How many questions are you going to ask them? One? Each one is going to ask them one?
Just there's a thing on
Now begin with one,
either side.
so they can start thinking about it while you're thinking of the second one. So give him the first question, please.
Keep it like that, then we change position.
We have to take out both of these.
La, nobody's gonna cheat, guys. No one can use the phone. Come on, guys. We're not in elementary school. But since I work for Samsung, if you use your phone, I will confiscate it. If it's a Samsung phone, I'll bring it back to the company. If it's an iPhone, I'll sell it in the market and use the money for our marketing campaign. So either way, you're not in good hands.
It's not that.
Yalla, Sheikh, yalla, ask him a question for Allah's sake.
Okay, so first question, we go ahead. How can you prove that the Quran has no mistakes and the Quran is the only right book? How?
Okay, we have some time to think.
No, you're supposed to answer immediately. Of course you have some time to think. That's the whole point. You have a group of people.
Give me the mic.
Yes, sir.
Answer this.
What are mistakes with the writing or is mistakes with the reading?
Okay, no, how can you prove
Mistakes in terms of writing?
Is it when it was revealed or right now? How did it?
What do you mean by mistakes? So whoever asked the question, what do you mean by mistakes? This is a valid question.
Yeah, what do you mean?
Here's another trader. You're going down, man. Allah please hold them again. Get you over there. I'm not into these days.
I mean, there's a lot of word. We say that the Bibles people added. And this comes.
So it's not mistakes. You mean that the Quran is not distorted or preserved? It's a completely different question. So how do you prove that the Quran is preserved? That's actually a better question. صح? I think they were enjoying the first question more. What's the second question? We can do it twice. Either we can ask based on something we already covered to see how much they paid attention, or we can completely throw them off and give them something, a curveball that they don't expect. Yalla guys, you have 2 minutes or 1 minute, 30 seconds. اطلع يلا تعال. You're the spokesman. I can see that they try to push you to the stage. Yalla, come. Yalla, it's okay, it's okay. It's your moment of faith. Wow, yalla. Yeah, Sheikh, don't be shy. We're all brothers. Come on. Answer. Yalla. اطلع على المسرح. مسرح. حلو يا أخي.
So the question was, why is Quran not distorted, right? And Bibles and all, over time they get distorted. So what our answer was, is that over time, during that time, of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that time the tradition was, everything was revealed orally. Quran wasn't written down and revealed, it was oral. So the oral tradition was to memorize it, and then it kept on passing down. So the Bible, we don't think, actually, I believe that it wasn't memorized by thousands of people, but Quran was. So if there was any mistake by anyone, they could refer it to others. So over time, Quran, we could say it's still not destroyed.
So that's it? Only one argument?
That was, yes.
Yes, that's correct. That's one answer. But there are multiple answers. Anybody else wants to add? Or that's, yeah, there's more to add. Come here, Chef, come. They asked me from the bathroom. Atla. It's okay. Put the mic there.
And just another point to add, the Quran.
I've never seen someone grab the mic like this.
And just another point to add over there, Allah also mentions in the Quran that He has preserved the Quran. He will preserve the Quran for the day of Day of Judgment.
And none of these guys know the ayah? Not one?
Yes.
The judges? Does anyone know the ayah about the preservation of the Quran? You're the questioner, so you should know. Yes, go ahead, sister. No need. She can answer.
Okay. It's 15:9. Indeed, it is we who sent down the Quran, and we are the ones who preserve and protect it.
Good. That's English citation. Anybody knows the Arabic? These are critical ayat that you guys should memorize for da'wah. These are very straightforward, very simple. Anyone?
Yeah. So, yeah, the Arabic.
Yes, I need the Arabic.
Yes. So it's إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ حَافِظُونَ.
Good. Very easy. إِنَّا نَحْنُ نَزَّلْنَا الذِّكْرَ وَإِنَّا لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. It is we who send down the dhikr, by the way, is one of the names of the Quran. From reminder. Why is it called reminder, by the way? Do you guys know why the Quran is called reminder? MashaAllah. Why do you drink water? Because when I'm thirsty, I drink water. Allahu Akbar. Something better than this. It's to prove the previous point that it's the fitrah. The Quran is only reminding you of what you already know. It's not giving you anything new. You already know all these things. طيب. وَإِنَّ لَهُ لَحَافِظُونَ. And fairly, it is we who will have memorization, صح? And also you say to the Shaykh, حَفِظَكُمُ اللَّهُ. Allah يحفظك. May Allah preserve you and protect you. It's all the same concept. Preservation and protection, basically, of the Quran. Okay, good. So the judges, how are you satisfied with those two very simplistic answers? Without an actual evidence, the evidence was provided by the judges themselves. Are there more things that you want to add? So one argument is this, the oral recitation of the Quran. The second one was the fact that the Quran clearly states that it's preserved. What other arguments are there? Judges.
So, do we rate this on a scale of 1 to 10?
No, she scripted, before you judge the fellas, try to give them some insight. What are they missing? How would you improve their argument?
It was not very convincing.
It was what?
Not really convincing.
Oh, you're not convinced? Okay, I know. Convince us. So the judges should be, supplements. You are the supplement. So they didn't do the job. Okay, show us how it is done. If you can. If you cannot, we'll make the questioner's answer, which would be like really confusing now, because nobody knows what they're doing. Hi, hello, sister.
They shouldn't be apologetic.
Talk about picking up a random statement from the works of history. Fill in the blanks. Anything just for. And orange juice is great after eggs. What? What does that have to do with anything? We're not even talking about breakfast. No, I'm not satisfied with that answer either. Nobody has any other arguments?
From here?
I guess we're gonna have to ask you guys.
The Sanad, Tawatur.
Sanad Tawatur, that's advanced. The chain of narrators. Like, what about some facts? What are some facts, undeniable facts about the Quran? Is there any other book in the world that is memorized by so many people from book to book, from with a language that they don't speak? Have you ever met a single human being who has memorized any Italian book with the Italian language and they don't speak Italian? Even if it's a coffee book that shows you how to make a cappuccino. Have you ever seen this? No, not even a single human being. How many people have the Quran memorized? And where do they have it memorized? Which builds on your previous argument. Where is it memorized? In the heart. So you tell the disbelievers, tell them, look, do you know that if there was a conspiracy against Muslims to burn all the masahif, let's say they collected all the Qurans in the world and they set them on fire, are we in trouble?
No.
Are we in trouble? Well, how do we fix the problem? As soon as all the Quran is burnt, all the Qurans in the world are burnt, what are we going to do? With who? With some 10-year-old kid. It's a 10-year-old kid who's memorized the Quran from cover to cover from Ethiopia or some country out there. Ta'al ya baba, اقرأ. And one guy who knows how to write, Yalla. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. If he said Alhamdulillah, how many people will correct him? Everyone. Do you understand what's going on? Can this apply to any other book? No. They can't deal with that. Anything else? That's enough. Second question is fire. You have an official spokesman, Yani? You ask.
The second question is, why can't you celebrate Christmas?
Why can't you celebrate Christmas? You look at them. Absolute numb. They're like, what? They're like, what? I thought I could celebrate Christmas. We celebrate Christmas this last December. What are these guys saying? These extreme radical Muslims. Wow. We need to reverse the roles. After this, the sisters should be the answerers, and you guys will be the judges, and they'll be the questioners. Huh? Oh, we don't have time? You have time? Guys, you have 1 minute. What are the challenges that time? You have 1 minute to give us an answer because we need to cover other things, inshallah. Twenty seconds. Five seconds. Come to the stage, please. يلا يلا كابتن يلا يلا ورانا شغل يلا بسرعة. 10 years later. It's okay. Whatever you remember is fine. You have judges that are waiting for you. Oh, so okay, good.
one of the points, we only have two Eids in Islam, which is Eid al-Fitr and Eid al-Adha, so we can't celebrate any other Eid. Second point is actually Christians believe that Jesus is the Son of Allah, so and the Christmas is his birthday, so actually celebrating it might be considered as shirk. The third point is
the third point is help from a distance.
Yeah.
No.
So yeah, I don't remember the ayah, but it's mentioned that if you do something, some other people, it's like imitating them and that we are part of them. So we can't like celebrate Christmas with them because we'll be considered as them.
Fine, good. Jazakallah khair. Judges, are you satisfied with this answer?
Yes.
What an easy way out. You should have said yes for everything. Oh, great answer. Wow, mashallah. Beautiful.
Like endorsing the claim that Jesus was God's son, so it makes sense. And
Okay. All right. Well, what else can we add? First of all, let's be very straightforward. Because Christmas now falls under many other celebrations of that sort. So it's very good that you established the first rule is, first of all, we're very specific in Islam that we have two Eids. Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha. Anything above and beyond that, out the picture. Your birthday, your anniversary, anything that you do on a yearly basis from aada, ya'udu, something that repeats and comes back again and again, is dismissed and is not part of Islam. Because our ayat have been specific. Of course, if you want the details of this, I have a lecture on YouTube titled, Can I Celebrate This? And there we mention all the evidences, because there are many specific hadith about the Prophet ﷺ going to Medina, finding out that the people had certain practices, and those practices were not even of religious nature. He told them, no, don't do this anymore. Allah has replaced you with days better than this. Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha. We have very specific hadith about the prohibition of celebrating any type of holiday beyond Eid al-Fitr, Eid al-Adha. Number one. Number two, you said that it's the acknowledgement that supposedly the Son of God was born on the 25th of December. Of course, they can turn around and say, but we don't believe that. Right? Like, we don't believe that Jesus was born. That's not the reason why we celebrate it. We're celebrating it for cultural reasons. Then you will give them the third answer, which is, okay, great. Then we have an issue with imitating other people. Muslims are to be imitated. They are never the imitators. Plain and simple. The way our religion is set up is that we are trendsetters. We don't follow trends. We make things happen. People want to copy us. Actually, in Islam, we don't even allow them to copy us. If we were an authority and they try to copy us, we don't even allow that so that people don't get confused. But the way the world is set up today, we simply follow our religious teachings, and it's on them to follow and copy us, and not the other way around ever. Besides the fact that the nature of this holiday is polytheistic and idolatry, it's all about idolatry. Whether it is the original worship of the sun that shifted from the Romanians to the Christians when the Romans became Christians, they basically adapted their holiday to that time to accommodate for the Christians. So it's actually a lot of history also involved. All of them prove that basically this holiday is absolutely baseless. The last question, we're gonna turn the tables around. The sisters will be the answerers, and you guys will be the questioners, and they will be the judges. But we're only going to do one question because of time restriction limitations. So what is the question to the sisters? Or to the women? Looks like they have evil intents for them. I've never seen them so excited.
How much is the latest for the next?
Wallahi, I think the sisters were being very generous. They're very black and white. Nope, not satisfied. Yep, satisfied. Why? I don't know. I've explained. It's like 3 words. Orange juice is good. Okay, like. Yes, sir.
Perhaps after this we can either answer as well just to
Fair and square. Nobody asked a difficult question, by the way. You guys these are very simple questions. I thought somebody's going to ask about the issue of Aisha, slavery in Islam. Some loaded questions. Yalla, habibi, yalla. Well, it looks like they're taking revenge for something happened in the past. I don't know what's going on campus, but this doesn't look healthy. The photographer gave up on his original job. He's like, now I have other intents.
Should I go now?
يلا يا كابتن يلا 10 seconds. تعال. Oh, mashallah, mashallah. Wait, let me go down. You can stay up, so otherwise I'm gonna feel super short.
Okay. So the question is, why is feminism not allowed in Islam?
Ouch! Wallah, he dropped a bomb. Do we have any non-Muslims among us today? Just so we know, everybody's here within us? Okay, tamam.
Great question, thank you. It was sometime.
This is supposed to be nitted in the bud. You should have an answer already in standby mode. Bravo. Who's the devilish one among you? This guy, huh? How much time do we give them? 2 seconds? Jazakallah khair. 2 seconds and out! Yeah, we'll give them 2 minutes. Yalla, sister, hurry up, hurry up. You can imagine the first sentence that was said there. Wait, feminism is not allowed in Islam? All right, sisters, time is up. One can begin, and then if you still have some thoughts that are developing, somebody can continue after. But let one of you begin already addressing the topic, please. Do they need a mic? They have a mic?
They have it.
Yalla, bismillah.
Okay, so starting with the basics, feminism advocates for equality, and way before feminism even was a word, Islam gave women the rights to inherit property, to everything. So basically, yeah.
So basically, yeah?
Yeah, one second. Yeah, 1 second.
So, yeah, Khadija, the wife of Prophet Muhammad, in that time she was allowed to has her own trade without any barriers.
She was allowed to what?
who has her own trade business.
Oh, have her own business, okay.
And also, like, why settle for 50-50 when my money is my money, your money is my money?
Whoa, wait. Why settle for 50-50 when my money is my money and your money is my money? Is that what you said? What in the world? I know, that was like so feminist, by the way, it's not even funny. The irony. Okay, no, I object, Your Honor. I object to the statement big time. First of all, yes, the sister's money is her money, and the husband is not allowed to even lay a finger on a single ringgit of the woman's money. Agreed. Similarly, his money is his money. And it's his obligation to spend and to look after and to pamper his wife and children and as much as he's able, no problem, that's his obligation. But it doesn't mean that the man's money is equally accessible to the woman, to his wife. Are we clear? Otherwise, it's a disaster. Otherwise, that's not from Islam. So yes, the woman can keep her money, but the husband's money is for him as well. That's why one of the most unjust laws ever is the idea that after divorce, a woman takes 50% of the man's hard work. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Imagine, for example, someone like Ronaldo. All his life he's playing football. He marries some woman that has nothing going on for her except looks. She doesn't know how to play football, she's not talented, and she doesn't make the same amount of money. They divorce, she takes half of this man's property and wealth that he earned. And she just chilling. And then she marries another man and then she gives him that money. It is extremely unjust if you think about it. So yeah, that's an issue. So the first point that you made was Khadija had her own business. Okay, but that point we have to be very sensitive or very careful about, that is not also used by to claim that women should also be given equal rights with men in terms of job and payment and wages and so on and so forth. The matter of feminism is very delicate, by the way. So the best answer is to say, first there's one ayah from the Quran that all of you should know. وَلَيْسَ الذَّكَرُ كَالْأُنثَى. And the male is unlike the female. So Allah Azza wa Jal gave men and women not equal rights. He gave them appropriate rights. He gave rights for the men that are suitable for them, and He gave rights for the women that are suitable for them. In some cases, the woman's rights are superior to the men's rights. Example, companionship to the mother. The father is the one who earns a living. He's the one who puts food on the table. He's the one who busts his behind his entire life to look after his children. Yet, the Prophet ﷺ, when asked, who has the most right of my good companionship, he said, Ummuka, your mother. Thumma man, Ummuka. Thumma man, Ummuka. Thumma man, Abu. The mother got 3 times the right of the father in terms of her children being dutiful to her. Even though the father did a lot of work as well. In this case, Islam favored who? Women over men. Like in Islam, isn't a woman always taken care of? There's always a male who has to look after her. She's never, in Islam, she's never supposed to be put in a predicament, as long as it's possible, where she has to go out and work hard and do what men do. Now, some women willingly want to do that. That's not the point of discussion. That's not the discussion. You understand? But in terms of them on their own, her father has to look after her, her husband has to look after her, her son has to look after somebody in the family who's male has to look after their women folk. So they are pampered and taken care of and treated like princesses the entire time. If they choose to get out of this royal treatment into becoming slaves to the corporate world, then they do so on the expense of what? What's the number one most prevalent thing in workplaces? Sexual harassment. You will not find a place where women are not sexually harassed. Why? Because men can't stop looking at them as sexual objects. Muslim men? No. Who? Men who put them in work. You know how many, I work in a company, you know how many managers prefer to get women as employees over men? Why? So he can enjoy his morning, afternoon, and night. He doesn't want to look at another man. He wants a woman around so that he can flirt with her and have fun with her. And if he's successful, whatever else happens afterwards. This is typical male brain. This is typical male brain. All the men in the world, if they want to sell a car, they put on an ad. What do they put on an ad? A woman lying down on the hood of a car. If they want to sell a razor, they have a woman shave for the man. If they want to sell a deodorant, they have a woman raising her armpit or whatever. They have to insert her somewhere for the things to work. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. So Islam freed women from this type of slavery, from this type of abuse, where she is treated respectfully, with care. You can't even put your finger on her if you're not from her maharam. Salamat, Minat. She has a father, her brother, her son. Somebody's going to say, hey, back off. What else? People hire bodyguards so that they can feel protected. A woman has a whole family of bodyguards by default. Some women don't like that. They want to be another man. Knock yourself out. You want to be another man? Knock yourself out. You will never be the same. No matter how hard women try, inshallah, a million years from now, if there's going to be a basketball game between 5 men and 5 women, the 5 men will win. Have you seen football? Have you seen female football? It's entertainment more than football. Why? It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Some things, it's just, otherwise, if women want to be equal, tell them no problem. Please, I don't want to see a single male plumber anymore. No electrician, no plumber, no construction worker. Let all these men go home and cook a nice, lovely dinner, and let the women go out and build the high buildings. Let them go in some, what do they call this, manhole in the street where there's sewage. Let the women go down there and clear those things where there's clogs and all kinds of issues. Let the women go do these dirty jobs that men, if the men didn't do today, this world would not be operating the way it's operating now. Are these facts or not? These are facts. People want to pay around with facts. You can't pay around with facts. This is the way Allah made the men and women different. Appreciate each the way they're supposed to be appreciated. But don't try to overlap things, because it's not going to work. And now what they did, now that they've tried that, it went from having equal rights with men to having more rights than men. Then the gender got involved. Now your gender freedom and gender identity, and I identify myself as this and as that. You go to a bathroom, you see a woman goes to a bathroom, she sees a man. What is she supposed to do? Hey, what are you doing here? Hey, I'm a woman. My name is Jessica. What? Abdullah. Allah yakhrab baitak, Jessica who? Wallahi, this morning I woke up identifying as a woman. Ana how? Now if you look like a man, don't worry, I'm taking hormones and shots, and I will install some organs, and next week I will look like you. This world is becoming a joke. The way the world is going, wallah, they're going to crash into the wall head first. Only the Muslims are keeping things in check. Alhamdulillah, everything is normal. Man, woman, husband, wife, children, everything is straightforward. No playing around. You don't even know who's who anymore. You have to use pronouns to figure out a cat from a dog. What does a cat have to do with this? And one, we're supposed to finish this topic of feminism because it's a very hot one. And I'm glad it's only Muslims having this discussion. Hopefully no cameras are recording this. And now to the last, we're going to reverse it. Who's going to ask, you said? No, you said you made one more suggestion, which I agreed with.
We'll be the answer.
You'll be the answers. Huh?
Anyone can ask.
Okay, yalla, ask these guys a loaded question. Whether the brothers or the sisters, ask those guys a loaded question. Whoever is ready first will go. Huh? MashaAllah. Yalla. What is this like? What is that thing, that show? The Family Feud? You press on the button but you don't have an answer? You were like this, we thought you were going to ask, and then they stopped talking.
So the question is, how can you prove there's an afterlife?
Allah, good question. How can you prove there's an afterlife?
We believe in the Quran and everything. Right? Right? Like, you can say like we believe in the Quran because of certain things. Give me this. Yeah, that's answer the question.
What's going on here? Are you guys trying to answer as well?
Anyone got me?
You're going to be the judges? MashaAllah, what ferocious judges you are.
This is for you guys.
Everything. That's true. Is there any specific guy from the Quran you know anything about after?
You have 30 seconds. Contribute? So these guys are spectators. They came in just for the show.
What is it?
This guy is the cameraman, he's excused. The button. Yalla, someone come on stage, give us a nice answer.
So the question is, how can you prove to us the afterlife? Does it have to be short or long? Or?
No, I'll take your time.
So I'll go through the
you're not going to give a lecture though.
Inshallah.
No, yeah. Bullet points. If we need to elaborate, we elaborate. Bullet points. Point number 1.
And I'll ask them about God first, if they believe in God first, because you gotta know their beliefs, right?
No, we cannot have that kind of scenario. We need a scenario where you're just going to prove, non-negotiably, you're going to prove your bullet points or the elements why you believe that there's an afterlife.
Okay, so firstly, we believe in the Quran, right? And we believe that the Quran is something that's from God, and it's been preserved since it was revealed 1,400 years ago. And to prove my point of believing in the Quran challenges you to, if you have doubts about the Quran, write something like it.
Okay, good. So use it in that workshop argument. Hello.
No. And I know you can't do it, because for the past 1,400 years, no one can do that. Hence, the Quran is true.
Nice work.
And in the Quran, it states about afterlife, about there's how Jannah is already created, how hell is already created.
Do you have any evidence? I know, generally speaking, they are, but we should be able to cite at least one ayah that proves that there's an afterlife. Hello, but why are you getting offended? I'm just asking for evidence. Remember the rule of Juz' Amma. Let's try to do the rule of Juz' Amma. Give us something from Juz' Amma about Akhirah. Straight to the point. You're looking up on the phone. The whole idea of Juz' Amma is that you don't need to look it up on your phone. Any ayah from Juz' Amma that there's an Akhirah? La.
وأما من خاف مقام ربه ونهى النفس عن الهوى فإن الجنة هي المأوى.
Hello. So that's a lengthy one. It's a beautiful one, but it's a lengthy one because you have to mention all the ayat. You have the one who fears Allah, the one who doesn't fear Allah, and ma'wahu al-jannah, ma'wahu an-nar. So what's more qayyum? What's more to the straight to the point? Surah Al-A'la. No, so that's Surah Al-A'la. The one that we said every Jumu'ah. إلا صبح اسم ربك الأعلى. What does it say in the end? بل تؤثرون الحياة الدنيا والآخرة خير وأبقى. The life to come is better and more lasting. Straightforward. Anything else? There's a lot more. Aywa. Yeah, but we don't want to be in a situation where we have to recite like 6 ayat. Because you're going to say that and then you have to recite so many. We're trying to look for 1 or 2 ayah max. Just for simplicity purposes. Of course you can cite more, but for simplicity purposes we want 1 or 2 ayat to prove the point. So maybe Surah Al-A'la was a couple of ayat, it's acceptable, it's only if you were صدق. Hey, mashallah, هذه في الصميم. سورة النجم, no? لا, سورة المزمل? No, not مزمل. وإلا لنا للآخر. لا, ضيعتنا يا شيخ. ها؟
الليل. سورة الليل.
الليل؟ أيوة صح, سورة الليل. Good. Anything else? Enough. طيب, next. What? خلاص. شو خلاص? That's the whole argument?
Yeah, you believe in the Quran, خلاص, you believe in the other.
Those are the fruits of my work. I bear responsibility for the workshop. And hey, he got excited. Hey, he already had, that's the same thing. He doesn't believe in the Quran, go to hell. Wallah min jid, the end result is you don't believe the Quran, خلاص, you're basically booking yourself a ticket to Jannah. There's nothing I can do for you. I cannot grab you by your neck and bring you out, if that's what you want. But there's more to it though. There is more to it than, okay, that argument is obviously a very fundamental one when you reach a dead end. You don't want to, I don't use this, or we don't use this argument from the get-go. This is when I'm dealing with the studies, reach a dead end where I cannot reason with them anymore. Otherwise, you want to use other simple arguments that may be convincing. Mind you, not every atheist is stubborn on atheism. They might come off like this, but then a lot of them revert. If you're able to explain well, meaning they have a preconceived notion of atheism, but they're not really convinced on the principles. So before we get to this cutthroat approach, how else can we use more logical things that they can relate to? So reward and punishment, okay. We've already addressed that in the workshop. Good. What else?
Accountability, you need to accountability.
Accountability. What else? If someone says, all right, you say you believe in the afterlife. Is the grave part of the afterlife?
Yes.
The barzakh. Is that part of life or part of the afterlife? It's in between. Hello? But do you believe that certain things will happen in this barzakhi life? Such as the punishment in the grave? So if they dig out a grave, and they don't see no garden from the gardens of Jannah, no pits from the pits of fire. And we say, every person in the grave, either he is in garden from the gardens of Jannah, or he's in the pit from the pits of fire, depending on how he lived his life. They tell you, we dug this grave, we saw nothing but corpses and bones, decayed bones, with dirt. I don't see no fire, I don't see no garden. So you're saying this is what, you're claiming in your belief in the afterlife, this is what's happening to him. This is not tangible, not visible. How do you address this conflict? Don't we believe that people in the grave are either being punished or rewarded? Yes. After you bury someone, a month later, dig up their grave. Are you going to see a garden from the gardens of Jannah or a pit from the pits of fire? So a disbeliever can say you're believing in foolishness. What you believe in is all foolish. Because you're claiming that this person is going through A or B, and he's going through neither A nor B. But this is seen.
You're supposed to
Excellent. The first thing is, if I dug the grave and I saw a bit from the pits of fire, do you think anyone will disbelieve afterwards? If the people saw with their own eyes, wait, after I die, that's what's going to happen to me? Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa Muhammad Rasulullah. Ishbak. No one will see a disbeliever. No one will see with his own eyes that he's going to roast in a grave and then be a disbeliever. And then there's no iman anymore. Khalas, this is Ainul Yaqeen. You know, you're seeing things with your own eye. The whole idea is you have to have the belief. Hello, very good. What else? Well, that's it. That's it? Yes?
Can we see, like, even if they don't believe in afterlife, people who believe in afterlife are still in an advantage, because after we die, those people who don't believe in afterlife, they're going to be doomed. But then those who believe in the afterlife, but yeah, they have an advantage because they're going to go to Jannah. But then if it's true that we don't have an afterlife, then nobody gets affected. So it's either the believers are either given Jannah or they're not affected, and then the disbelievers are they either go to hell or they're not affected.
I get your point. I get your point. This is similar to, your answer is similar to a statement I heard one of the comedians say. Okay? A comedian, he said, if you're an atheist, you better pray that you're right. If you're an atheist, you better hope and pray that there is actually no God. Because if there is a God, ouch. And that's an atheist comedian saying this to other people. And it hit me. It hit me that his fitrah was actually speaking. And that's basically what he's saying. They are definitely gambling. They're playing a major gamble. Because if, and we know that there is, but according to them, if there was a God, and if there's the reward and punishment, and they failed in fulfilling all of that, then based on what they've been promised, they are in deep, deep trouble. You understand? Whereas we as believers do not approach the subject like this because we have already yaqeen. Anyways, I got a message that says time is up, but the workshop is not up. We will have session 2, inshallah ta'ala, tomorrow at 6 p.m., same location, same venue, hopefully we'll be ready. And try to come on time. Please, if you don't have any pressing, urgent appointments with a dentist or a doctor or something that is holding you back, try to come on time so we can start on time and have a more fruitful discussion. Jazakumullah khair. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you. Salam alaikum. Oh, okay. Oh, so there is a Q&A session. Turns out now you can turn the tables on me after all these questions and judges and everything. If you have any questions that you think I can help you with, then shoot. If you don't have any, we'll call it a day. Go, you guys could go pray Isha. You?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
What argument would you say is the best when you're coming into contact with the atheists? Is it like the design argument where you use the phone in the desert? In this case, we'd use an iPhone since it's better than
nice one.
an Android. But
yeah, I hear you.
Which
honestly, I have a completely different approach than the traditional dawah that you see on YouTube. My approach is strictly Quran, Sunnah, and Fitrah. My biggest argument is the Fitrah. Okay, because it is established in the revelation, and if they don't accept the revelation, then we stick on the point of revelation. I will revolve around the point of revelation, either for or against. Until that is out of the way, everything else is dependent on that argument. My argument is this Quran is from Allah or not from Allah. if this Quran is from the creator of the heavens and the earth, you are now obliged to comply with everything in it. And according to that, there is no such thing as an atheist anymore. There is La ilaha illallah, you have to believe in that. So that's the fitrah, basically the fitrah, that it's in your natural innate to believe in the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If they reject it, then I turn sarcastic on them. I turn sarcastic on them. I say, all right, you're claiming, you're objecting to the way this world is run because you're claiming there's no God. Otherwise, if there's a God, why there's suffering? Why is there pain? Why? All these whys that you ask. All right, I have a suggestion for you. Since you're not satisfied with the current affairs and the current order of things, so that makes you superior to the intelligence behind the existing world. So please do me a favor, go create a parallel world. Since you're so genius, such a genius, create a parallel world to this one, create your own mankind, and there, don't apply the same rules that you think are not befitting now. And when you're done, give me a call. I would like to visit your world and see how you're handling business. And it's going to tell you, what? I can't say exactly, you cannot. So you, a human being who cannot multiply 3 digits by 3 digits, and I will give him 6 digits. I'll give him 655 times 453. And ask anyone here to give me an answer right now. See, so you cannot figure out 3 digits by 3 digits multiplication, and you're telling me that you think this world is not designed properly, and you have a better option when you are this deficient and this incapable? So I just turn a sarcastic approach on them, because I know that deep down they know. Now, anybody else? Aywa.
As you can see nowadays, in school, at work, here and there, a lot of people, they hang out after work or before, for lunch, for dinner, official dinner, unofficial dinner, whatever, like the company, for example. And sometimes it's really hard to ditch because there's be discussing stuff about work and business, and there's like this dinner gathering, and then so if you go, are you a sinner?
Yeah.
Okay.
Women and men sitting there discussing dinner together, discussing work-related matters, meaning you work from 9 to 5. After work hours, they hang out some more and maybe go out for dinner to continue discussing business. Right? And so now part of you wants to disconnect and go mind your business, and the other part is like, but this is important for my working career. Right? So you ask the wrong guy. Because I have made it a point my whole career to work exactly the amount of hours expected of me and not give a single minute extra. Bala break time, even break time, I'm on my own. Break time, I'm on my own. Break time is a different discussion. Let me first deal with after hours so that I don't conflate the two topics. Because you're right, the break time is a completely different scenario. But let's say the after hours, once work is done, I'm out. Even when I attended a workshop recently, before I came here, I was in Dubai. And after the workshop, they were, the different team members were going to meet, and it's a mixed crowd. I simply excused myself and went with my own people, recorded some sessions for some Dawah organization, completely ditched those people, left them behind. Allah will give you something better, basically. Man taraka shay'an lillah, Allah will give you something better. But you have to have the bravery. Sometimes you are in a situation where you're compromised. I understand. That you have to calculate and get a fatwa on how pressing is the need for you to be there. And if so, how much you're going to avoid the kind of interaction that that is not good for you. So you might be in a situation where lunch is part of the workshop. But during the lunch break, you have to be with everybody else. You cannot exit and go on your own because you're traveling with them or something like this. In which case, you have to, avoid to the best of your ability. This is if the job does not allow you to have segregation, or if you haven't found a job where there's no mixing between genders, which is very difficult in this day and time. So the general ruling is فَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُمْ. Fear Allah as much as you can. But you can't give a general answer for everybody because everybody will get that answer that is practical and convenient for them and apply it or misapply it. So the safest thing is each one who's in a situation like this should refer his very specific situation to a person of knowledge, and then that person of knowledge will give that person a fatwa that is applicable to them. Not a general fatwa for everybody. You get me? Yes. Alaikum salam.
So my question is, how do you give da'wah to your Muslim brothers who say there's something called bid'ah hasanah and the good bid'ah?
The good bid'ah argument. Well, first you tell them to watch a lecture on YouTube titled The Extermination of Innovation. I have a lecture on YouTube titled The Extermination of Innovation. And that lecture is probably the one of those Allah facilitated that I researched the most maybe in my life on a topic. So it's bi'idhnillah azza wa jalla, you'll find it to be straight to the point. It actually, the whole lecture addresses this misconception of a good innovation in Islam. And it also addresses the doubt of Umar was saying, Ni'mat al-bid'ati hadi, when he came and saw the people praying Tarawih. All of the arguments that they bring to the table, all of them were addressed one after the other. And so I can't give you the lecture again, but I do recommend that whoever is interested in knowing whether there is such a thing as a good innovation in Islam, bid'ah hasana, to watch the lecture, The Extermination of Innovation.
So do you recommend me to send this to the brother, or?
It depends. If the brother is the type who's into learning Islam and he has the patience to listen to a lecture, yes, send it to him, let him watch it. If not, you listen to it, you take the main points, and you deliver it to him in your own way, inshallah. All right, now, tafadali, sister. Last question, okay?
No? How does fitra align with psychopaths?
How does fitra align with?
Psychopaths.
Because in Islam, we acknowledge the existence of al-majnoon. The Prophet ﷺ said, "Rufi al-qalam an thalath." The pen has been lifted from 3, and he mentioned al-majnoon, the crazy person. So we don't. There are they're crazy people that we acknowledge in Islam. We've never denied it, and those people are not held accountable if they are truly and sincerely not all there in their mind. If they're mentally decapitated or they have some sort of mental problem, then in Islam, they're not responsible for their actions. They're actually exempt from accountability in the sense. So there's no conflict between the two. When we're talking about fitra, we're talking about the fitra of the sound person, of sound intellect, who's denying his natural disposition. Not someone that has a different type of condition that exempts them from that responsibility. Now, clear? No? All right. So it's a wrap, inshallah. So we'll see you tomorrow. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.